Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Bevvies with the Boys. My name is Munch. Dagda is over there. We are the boys, and today we're joined by two more boys. It's Foxdrop and it's Medic, the LEC casters. Welcome to the show, guys. How you both doing? How's things? You all right?
So what you failed to do there, Munch, is
pick a
direct it
person.
towards.
Well, I was hoping for a bit of a casual vibe. You know, I was gonna say hello. All right. Well, since we're not doing casual vibe, then I'm gonna order it around the circle. Medic, we're gonna go clockwise. So you're first. How are you doing? What are you drinking tonight?
I'm doing all right. I realized from your title, I'm technically a bevy. Because if you two are the boys, then whoever you have on are bevies.
Yeah.
So I'm a bevy.
You're a tall glass of water, let me tell you that.
Oh, baby. Today, I am drinking Helmut Vermouth. Yeah, it was a Christmas gift from a friend. It's quite tasty. It's got a bit of like a citrusy vibe, but I am also drinking it with tonic with some lemon zest in it. So that's probably why the citrusy vibe's coming through. Only 17%, so nothing too powerful.
What is it? Like a
vermouth?
Yeah.
It's an alcohol.
Oh, that's the name of the type of spirit. I've never even heard of that.
Vermouth is the type of spirit. It's in vermouth.
Vermouth.
You didn't.
I give up. All right, I've never heard of it before.
This is the best.
It sounds tasty. It sounds real good.
Vermouth. Vermouth.
Oh, okay.
Vermouth. It's in German, so I can't tell you what it is.
Okay. Fair enough. All right.
Wine.
Moving swiftly
it's a
on
wine.
before I embarrass
It's a
myself further.
Fortified wine, probably.
What? It's a fortified wine. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Correct.
we'll get to you, Dan. You clearly know your stuff.
Today my choice of drink is Essence de Belligowan.
Oh,
Nice.
I got this. It's distilled from I believe they say Les Montagnes à la Sud de France. And it's got a nice kind of like a watery
Je ne sais quoi.
It goes down easy, doesn't it? It goes down
Yeah,
easy. That's what I found with Balagoan.
And you know, I've got enough bad conscience on my mind, so this is 100% recyclable as well. So
Nice.
there's that. You can probably find this at your local Lidl,
Tesco's. Yeah.
Aldi. Yeah, I did believe this came with a KFC order.
Yeah. You can get it as part of a meal deal as well if you're.
sweet. Well, I'm glad we've got into the options of where you can. Also, the tap is pretty good.
Yeah.
Dagda, what are you drinking tonight, mate?
Yeah. So I'm starting off with a beer because I got one left over, but then I'm gonna swap over to I got Absolute Lime vodka. And since we seem to be like overdoing it, it's a VODKA vodka.
What is that? Vodka?
It's like a fortified
water
or whatever it's made out of.
It must
I
be
think it's made
potato.
out of something like that.
It is
I'm not
potato,
entirely
but I
certain.
don't actually know how they do it.
So they mash it and then they distill it multiple times.
They boil it, mash it, stick it in the stew.
Straight in the stew, yeah.
But-
What's taters, precious?
Actually, in hindsight, it's kind of disappointing that there was no vodka involved in Lord of the Rings, considering the amount of potato-based humor. But
they had mead. They had a lot of mead.
They did have a lot of mead. Alcohol was very boring back then. There weren't many options.
You say it as if it was in an actual time period.
The food and drink is based on a time period.
When Lord of the Rings was happening in the Third Age.
You realise that this is written by a historian. This is a guy that has a degree in British history. Like, it's clearly based on historical events.
It would be pretty hilarious, though, if it's like, ickety bickety boop, and suddenly Captain Morgan's is in Lord of the Rings.
Okay, firstly, let wizarding Lord of the Rings like that, please. Okay. Gandalf will have your head.
Sorry, you shall not pass. Slams on
Gandalf
staff,
gets
and
out
there's
his
Morgan.
You shall not pass the shot glass. You must down it in one pressure.
Well, I'm down. I can't wait for this to be one of the random bits of LEC content that comes out this year now. It's just like Lord of the Rings / Freshers Week themed.
I am trying to make them make a sea shanty like an actual intro song.
Oh, that'll be
What?
unreal.
Sea shanty.
What was the sea
wouldn't it
shanty
be like?
I saw a bunch of tweets
so
for like
it
2 days about
it was
sea shanties,
amazing.
and it's gone.
It became
was
huge
great.
on TikTok and then obviously filtered into Reddit. Like basically we're all going insane because we're all locked down, right? And so what we're doing is we're finding songs sung by people that were alone for long periods of time and being like, I can relate to that. When the tonguing is done, I will take my leave and go. The Weller man will bring you the sugar, the tea, and the rum, and it's great.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's great. I think it's amazing.
I feel like I just missed out on a
You
generational moment.
You
but-
should definitely listen to the Weller man if you haven't
Yeah.
heard it. It's just very enjoyable music. Like it's just fun.
Is that something like the Rattling Bog? I'd imagine, which
Yeah.
is,
Rattling Bog is
Irish
classic.
drinking song.
Yes.
That's a very good song.
Um,
Very long though.
it is
Yeah, we used to
very
do it to
long.
warm up for the LPL and just drive the producer nuts on the mic because
Yeah.
it just keeps going, right? So they're all just breaking
With a
the
tree
bollocks
on the
and
log
just
on the
absolute nonsense.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
You just pick up the pace and the pace and the pace and the pace. Go check it out on YouTube, but do it after the show because we're here. All right.
Fuck it, do it now.
Yeah, I would do it now. Put it on at the same
We're
time.
not saying
Just
anything
put it in the
interesting.
background. All right, let's talk LEC because obviously you guys. I don't know if anyone knows this since you guys are bringing the entire audience here. I'm going to assume that they know you guys are both on the LEC. I want to start with you, Foxdrop, because you're back. You've made it back to the LEC. How does it feel? The triumphant return. You got to be feeling good.
It is actually. It does feel great. But it was also kind of shocking. I went from like not knowing anything about where I stood with LEC, and then it was like, "Yo, you want to come to All Stars? Sure. All right, cool. Oh yeah, by the way, you want to come to LEC as well? Yeah. I suppose I could.
Well,
do
if
that.
you insist,
Yeah.
I could dabble.
It was very sudden, but it's nice because I feel like I'm in a good spot to make the most of it. Take advantage of the position I'm in, and of course now Brexit and Corona.
Yep.
And I was meant to be on for week 2. I'm meant to be in Germany right now, quarantining.
Yeah, you and I
But
almost
I'm
cast
not.
together.
Really? I didn't
Yep.
know that.
Oh,
So
well.
there you go.
I was
Spoilers.
looking forward to it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I can't because that's happening. I don't know when I'll be able to go out, honestly, because it seems like every other week, like the UK keeps coming up with a new super strand to like mess everything up.
Yeah.
So just when you think things are settling down, it's like, haha, we have this one. And then everyone shuts their borders to the UK. Even when I was finishing All Stars, I'm sitting in the green room, right? And Deppo, the producer of All Stars, comes into the green room and he's like visibly and audibly as well shaken. And I'm like, bloody hell. Yeah, this is a bit of a problem. It's like, you might need to go and pack your bags because everywhere's shutting their borders to the UK. My flight was like the very next day, and I still had to reschedule because that flight was probably going to get cancelled. Fortunately, I didn't have to.
Jeez.
Actually, there wasn't any flight for that same day, but I had to get a flight at like 7 a.m. And the show for All Stars finished at like 12:01. It was the long day, so yeah, that was fab.
Jeez.
But I did get a cheeky Mackies on the way home after I landed, so that was nice.
That's the important thing.
So COVID's ruining everything, but Mackie, so swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, I mean, that's all right.
You win some, you lose some.
That's the Munch wants to keep us positive. So
No, that's
McDonald's?
genuinely how I think about the world. I'm just
I have a Toblerone. Woo!
okay,
That's
now
not
you're just
bad.
making everyone jealous. I can't
Yeah, I
even
know.
eat those. I'm jealous. I will
I've
say
got
I
a
didn't know you
banana,
played
actually.
guitar. You much of a guitarist or a hobbyist?
We're called Guitarios, actually, in the guitaring field.
Oh, are you?
Why does that sound like a really shit cereal?
Is that true?
It's like juggalos, but for guitar.
See, I've heard of them before. I just didn't.
They're very good with their fingers.
Yeah.
It's the fucking that they do. Okay, come on, guys. Don't go sign on me.
No, it's one of those
Yeah,
things where
that's
I
good.
played for 2 years when I was younger, and then bought a guitar with the intention to pick it back up. And Hades and other things have happened. So, yeah.
Can you
no,
still do the
I'm
four
not
chords
good.
though? Can you do
What,
the
G, A,
C,
C, and
G,
D,
D, A
yeah.
minor or whatever?
Yeah, and I can do E minor as well. I can do E minor 7 if you really want me to. Oof.
The 7 chords are actually cheating. I think where you just
Yeah, 100%.
keep your
Because
two
E minor
fingers
7 is
on.
just 2 fingers. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
super easy.
It's easy.
Anyway,
So let's talk LEC and kind of like what it's like getting into LEC, not just in terms of like applying for the job, but like so you're 2 weeks away from LEC. What are the steps that you have to take? Because obviously LEC it's evolved from just your standard esports broadcast at this point. LEC, I think, is the closest esports broadcast, aside from maybe some of the ones in America like E-League or Overwatch League, that's closest to real television at this point, where there is very clearly processes, there's very clearly a lot of content, a lot of marketing around everything, and I'm sure you guys get a lot of instructions from behind the scenes on what you can, what you can't do, etc., etc. What's that process like when you're preparing for the season? Like, how do you get into gear? What do you have to? Is there like a list of jobs you have to do for Riot going into the season, or is it just personal prepping for yourself? Like, where do you begin with all of that? I'll go with you first, Medic, since you're kind of this is what your fourth year?
Yeah. Third full year.
Third full year.
2017, I did Challenger Series and like half a split of LEC, and then 18, 19, 20. Fourth full year. Fuck. Oh my god, I'm old.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay. So prep is weird. This year especially so because there was lots of contract stuff that still needed to be sorted out. Like my contract was only signed the day before LEC started, which is obviously
that's very
yet either. So
yeah, but like it's very esports, but it shouldn't be very esports, right? Like we started negotiations in November, and it took us until the 21st or 20th of December, 20th of January before we like officially nailed it down. And so my prep mostly consisted of I did research on all the teams. I have a Google Drive with every single team in. I watch all of the new players and I'll write like notes on them and be like, oh, I think Leoya is a very smart player. His pathing in this game was particularly good against in his EU Masters game, blah, blah, blah. You know, just the general research stuff that you do. And then the week before LEC starts, we have a meeting and we go through each team and we say, okay, what's our log line for this team? And a log line consists of, I can't read them to you because they're confidential. But I'm just trying to like, for G2, it would be like, the reigning champions have added another string to their bow. Will Reckless be able to blend in with the team and take them to new heights? Something like that, right? Like just a general overview of what is the essence of this team and what's the essence of what. Yeah, kind of thing. It's like what if we can't think of anything to talk about, what do we say about this team, right? And they're much better than that because that was just me riffing off the top of my head. Well, I think they're much better than that. Maybe they're not. Who knows? None of you. Well, Foxdrop
that's for the audience to decide.
Exactly. And so that we do that, and we have like team working agreement meetings where it's like, oh, we shouldn't leave food in the caster room. Oh, this is how we treat each other. This is how we do feedback, etc. And then the Tuesday before the show is a full day of analyst desk prep and casting prep and discussion and graphics. And the good thing about LEC is if you're not on content, you don't really need to know about it. People will tell you like it's happening, but I have no insight on what Vedi is doing for Pixel Watch or if there's like a new fun intro coming out. I have no idea about it unless I'm on it. So you don't get like saturated with all of this stuff because otherwise it would be very draining. But it kind of sucks because you get FOMO and you miss out on all this cool stuff as well. It's like, why didn't you include me on this thing? I'd love to do it. And then you burn out by like week 4 and you realize why you don't get included on everything because you're already too tired. But yeah, that's my general prep. And then I did like a couple of practice casts by myself and nothing too complex now. Fear of missing out.
Huh? Oh, you don't know FOMO? FOMO is like the story of my
You've been
entire life
out.
so far.
yeah.
I became an extrovert through sheer force of FOMO, I'm pretty sure.
Oh wow, yeah. Not a foobar.
So on the
not FOMO.
Foobar? What's Foobar? I feel like I've heard that before, but I don't. Is that?
Am I allowed to say a swear word?
Say as many swear words as you like.
Not that one.
He's not in charge. So is Dave.
Foobar is fucked up beyond all reason.
Okay. I'm gonna
So
start.
it's Dagda already. He's had way too many.
Dagda had one before we even started.
2 sips of beer.
He's on a mission tonight.
Look, it's the only way that I can stay awake at this stage. I've been up since 5 a.m. I had to do 2 best of 3 series. I went the full way. I'm pretty exhausted at this stage.
There were long games in the series as well.
Yeah.
There were slow games for most of them, but anyway, enough complaining.
Wait, just as a quick note, I've watched some LPL. You guys are flipping slow now. What happened?
I know, dude.
There's some games where it's like 7 kills at 7 minutes. I'm like, excellent. And then
Well,
there's
that's
some
the
games
thing.
where it's like 1 kill at 50 minutes. I'm like, excuse me, China.
That's
What
because
has
the
happened
really
here?
good teams are able to just go, right, we're just going to skill check you and kill you. The teams from like 10th down are just really slow because they don't actually know what they're supposed to do.
So from 10th down for the LEC obviously is one team.
Yeah.
I think currently occupied by both Fnatic and Astralis. Sorry. So
Yeah, so we were our bottom 7 teams because we have 17 teams in the LPL right now, which makes prep real easy because try to watch 17 teams and figure out what the fuck they're doing and have an identity for each individual team and player and everything is just swell.
It's nice that we get days off. It's nice that we don't have to watch League of Legends every day of the week because that would just be too much.
it would.
But luckily that's not the case. So I want to go back to coming into the LEC and go from your perspective here, Foxdrop, because obviously you found out about LEC. So at what point did you find out that they wanted you to come on LEC, and like what's that lead up been like since that point? Obviously, unfortunately, it would have been today, right? It would have been you flying over yesterday, and
what was that like? It was very random. Like I said, like I feel like, and I'm sure Medic can attest to this as well. And in the same spirit of the contract talks that he said he had it the day before, knowing exactly what's going on and where you stand can be a bit tricky with LEC. So genuinely, I was, I may as well, if I can rewind back to 2019 when I was last on the show. So, my last appearance was like I did a split in summer 2019. Sorry, a show in summer 2019, and basically I was of the understanding that because at the time I was struggling from quite severe like anxiety and panic attacks, so I would get panic attacks and it would be pretty bad. Like I'd feel very. It's very hard to describe it, but like the word dread always comes to mind. Like you feel full of dread, and then it's no bueno. It's really difficult to kind of push through. So I was struggling, and it wasn't easy for me. And so I'd spoken to LEC about it, and I was under the understanding that they were exceptionally they were very, very, very understanding themselves, and I was like, holy shit, is this real life? And from my perspective, it was like, well, I was told like, yo, if you can't make week A, you come week B. Don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. And I was like, wow, finally, I've got like a low pressure environment where this isn't gonna affect me professionally, and I'm just gonna be able to, do my best and all that stuff. Now, unfortunately, that wasn't really the case, but it was mostly because it's just not practical, So like, I would be for very obvious reasons, if you're invited for 1 week and you just don't show up. Because there was one time where I was at the airport and I bailed. I was literally about to board the plane and I bailed. Obviously, that throws a huge spanner in the works. I know it's exceptionally inconvenient, but either way, like that was just a misunderstanding, really, where I thought it was different. But it was okay when it wasn't okay. But I understand it. Obviously, I understand it. It's a show. It's a professional show. And that is very inconvenient. Like I don't hold any ill will towards that at all. Maybe it would be nice to have better communication so that I knew that was the case. But either way, like I know that knowing that that's not the case, that's fine. So from that point, I didn't know where I stood because it was like, wait, I thought this was okay, but it's not okay. And I'm not being invited back. And now I just got cancelled for a show that I was meant to go out for. Wait, am I in a bit of a pickle? And I didn't know what was happening. And then, so that was, summer split. And then in like January, whenever the next like 2020 started and Yamato Cannon was announced, that's how I realized I wasn't going to be part of the show because Yamato Cannon's on the show. So I didn't know what was going on then. Then I tried to find out during that 2020 as well, like, do you want me back or anything like that? Ever come back on? Wasn't really able to find things out. And then I get a message for All Stars in this past December, and like, oh yeah, and you also want to come on LEC. So when you ask me like any kind of prep and stuff, it's like I don't know. That's the answer. I just have no idea because it's like I had no idea what was going on. I had no idea where I stood. I'm very, very happy to be back. And then, like I say, I'm not aggy at anyone at LEC or how things
Yeah.
happened because I get it, and also I just can't be asked. Like being Aggie is so much effort.
It
Legit.
is.
Like what the hell? Who has time for that? Seriously.
Yeah.
So you just I just feel great about LEC this time because I just know all of the mistakes I made last time. I get it, you know. I take myself out of the situation. I see the mistakes that I made. I'm much better mentally as well, and like I know I'm not going this time to. Obviously, I quite look up to people like Betty and Ender, and the color casters. That part of the show for scoring at the time as well. But
I'm right here. I'm like.
Yeah, you're not a color caster,
Yeah.
so.
Still.
I'm right here. I'm right here.
He's talking about the 5 heads. He's talking about the 5 heads.
All right, and Dagger.
You're one of the play-by-play monkeys, like.
I didn't need you to say it. No, jeez, I didn't think you
Exactly.
would.
I thought that was implied. You two, come on, man.
Like the webcams are
I
positioned
realise
in order
now.
of intelligence. We're the low tier.
Wait, I need to start the stream now. Oh yeah, I'm above you. That's fine. That's doing good. We're good.
I figured, like, you know, I've just realized I don't need to be ready. I don't need to be Ender. They're really smart about the game. They're mega analytical
Yeah.
and they're great at it. But I don't need to be that. I'm not invited because I'm good at that. I'm invited because I'm me, and that's great because I'm good at being me, and I quite enjoy doing that as well. So I just go there, and I'm also not afraid about not living up to expectations because what are you gonna do? Kick me off again? You already did that once, like you know. I feel like have you seen that meme where that guy's like, "What are you gonna do? Stab me, man? Who was stabbed?" You know, that's kind of how I feel. But none of this is in like a negative way because it's just like I've got absolutely nothing to lose. You know, like I've already been off of LEC. It's not like I've been at the top and then come crumbling down. And oh my goodness, I'm stuttering and shaking, and oh my goodness, it's awful. Nah, like fuck it.
There's like
Whatever.
a freedom to
I'll just
it
go there.
almost.
Yeah, exactly. You just go there, do your best. You have fun. You try and contribute to the show. You try and improve the overall show as best you can. You add your flair to it. You go there, do your thing, and that's all you can do. And if that ain't good enough, well, fair enough. If that is good enough, fair enough. Sorted.
I actually think that's an exceptional way to approach broadcast in general because realistically, one of the best things that you can bring to broadcast is a different perspective, a different personality. Like trying to be like the people that are already on the show doesn't necessarily always add that much value because they're already on the show. There's already someone to do that. Having a different person with a different perspective, and this is why each time that there's a pro player that comes on one of the shows, people love it because it's a new perspective, it's a new way of looking at everything, and it's a new personality. Like Cadril has immediately hit the ground running in the LEC because you know he's a different perspective from the pro player perspective, but also he's a different personality to everyone else on the show. Like his sense of humor is different to the rest of the guys in LEC. Like it's a different feel to the broadcast, and I think that's important to try and build for yourself. And this is for any of the newcasters. This is something that I'm working on this year myself. Is to try and have my own feel that like when I'm casting a game, it's very clearly my game. You know, it's not a cast that anyone else would have done. It's my cast. And I think that's one of the most important things that I think a lot of people underestimate the value of within broadcast of just being you, being different to everyone else, and bringing to the broadcast what you can bring to the broadcast that other people can't.
I will also say that that's super hard, and I don't know if you guys felt that the first time you did your very first like major league broadcast, where you're just like, I need to be perfect, everything needs to be right, I can't say anything wrong, I've got to present the best thing, and then it becomes super like
shit.
I don't want to say professional, but it's shit, yeah, because you've got no personality, you're making sure everything is said right, it comes very functional rather than entertaining. And I think that's where sometimes when you have that of, hey, I'm just coming in, I'm just going to do what I want. And I think Foxdrop, you've got the best mentality for it is, I'm just going to be me. I'm going to do me because that's what they fucking want at the end of the day. And that's what you need going into this. Like some of the best casts I think I've had are just where I'm like, I can't care. I just can't. I'm just so beyond. And then they're like, that was really good. It's like, I just couldn't give a shit.
It actually sucks when they're good as well. Because you're like, why am I working so hard on all of these other casts? And this one that I couldn't be fucking asked for, that's the good one? Are you fucking serious? Like, what? Why am I wasting my time? Yeah,
it's good. You've built up the foundation, though. I think that's the thing, right? Like, we're all at a level now where for Munch and I, like, we do the check-ins. Like, you're like, okay, 15 minutes, I'll check gold. At this time, I'll do this. In a team fight, this is what I'm looking for. This is where I go, right? And so when you're not overthinking it, you just resort to those and then add your personality to it, and that makes it super easy, right? And I don't know the checks you color casters do all the time, but I assume it's like, oh, I look at the minimap, I think about TPs, I think about summoner spells, what's the team fight composition, etc. Right? And because you have that foundation, then when you turn your brain off a little bit, the foundation comes through and your personality comes through, and that's what people like, right? I've actually found it really difficult as a play-by-play to have a defined medic cast, right? Because at the start, it was like, oh, I'll joke with Veddy, we'll do some cringe stuff and people will enjoy it. We'll do a little dance or something. It's like, hey, Veddy, let's go. And now it's
I
like...
think that sounds Italian. Sorry.
Hey, pizzeria.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's like, what do you define as a play-by-play? Like, what do you make your own? Because like everyone loves Flowers, and like Flowers is an incredible caster, but I can't be Flowers. Like, how do my team fights differ from Flowers? How does my play-by-play become defined enough in and of itself to be better than Flowers, but different? Because like, what do? Do I talk quicker? Do I say things louder? Like, there's definite things you can do, and like, I've got a 20-page well, probably not 20, like a 10-page document of like, how does Medic explore team fights? Convey, establish, direct the action, and then we'll look at these different layers and different stages of team fights, and here are my 50,000 words that I can use in different team fights, and sometimes I'll do boxing, and sometimes I'll do fighting, and sometimes I'll do war, and then I never do any of it anyway, and I just shout fast and talk quick, so it's weird. It's weird.
I think that last point is really important. I think actually that last point is the most important point of all of it, is no matter how much prep you do, no matter what you've got written in your notes and all of that, when it comes down to trying to define yourself, especially, I can totally relate to what you're saying in the play-by-play role. Even if your ultimate goal is like, I'm going to talk at 100 miles an hour, and then when there's a big moment, I'm going to slow down and say one word every half second for impact, and then I'm going to speed up again. That's great. And maybe it worked in practice, and maybe it's written in your notes, but when you're in the middle of a team fight, you don't have time to stop and think, okay, how was I approaching this? Like, what are the goals for this team fight? And like, quite often, I just find myself like, even if there was something I wanted to do in a team fight, play-by-play is not something that I'm thinking about every word in the moment. It just kind of happens. So the amount of micromanagement you could, like, once you're halfway through a sentence, you're in. You've committed to that sentence now. So you're kind of you just gotta let it take itself and see where it goes.
Yeah. I had a moment at Worlds where everyone thought I did a spic take, but what actually happened was I was casting really quickly, and my brain was like, okay, next word starts with P. And then I started the word and couldn't think of any words that started with P. So all I did was like, and it's going for the P. There we go for the next part of that's all I did at the moment. I was like, medic's not a spic take. I'm like, no, my brain forgot everything that goes with P. That was just the way it works.
A full second of flatline. Just literally
that
died
reminds
for
me a bit of quick shots. Do you remember quick shots? I see only time I really heard him just completely goof a team fight up. He said said something like it was an excellent Baron and an excellent team flap.
Yeah.
that's the quote.
That was great.
And I was like, wow, that was just funny. And I don't envy you guys that much at all, because you guys have to. It's not necessarily what you say, but how you say it. Yeah. Whereas for us as color casters, it's more about what we say than how we say it.
But you also have a lot more time to think, you lazy people.
Yeah,
you have the whole fight to think. I'm just shouting.
Exactly. And that's the thing as well, is like one of the best pieces of advice I get told on any kind of like replays or team fight ratings or anything, it's like just focus on one thing. It's always that. It's always focus on one thing and talk about that and expand on that. So you don't even have to think about everything. You just pick one thing and then you just really drill that one home. But I had like a little notebook for when I was casting. And I'm sure people have notes like, well, I know casters have notes like stats and whatever other random stuff they want to bring up. I had notes for one-liners that I could use. So I genuinely had like just ridiculous like someone dies, it'd be like, and well, just like Steam, he will be missed. And then like I use a line.
Oh,
Takes it
God.
off.
Wait, let me get my one-liner list up. I'm stealing that one. Here we go.
Yeah. Did you? One of the first ones I used when I was generally one of my first games was like a priest in a restroom. Do you remember that at all? When I said that,
Yeah.
I was casting with Trevor. And he shat himself. I said, it was the end of a massive team fight. And I was like, I can't remember the full set. But I said, I'm like a priest in a restroom. Holy crap. And he looked at me after the first part, after the setup. And he's like,
Yeah, his mind has gone
Where
to
you
a
going with
different
this?
direction, hasn't it? There?
Yeah, he was terrified. Like, oh, I just got this kid on the show in his very first game. He's gonna, what's he gonna say?
I remember that. It was great.
He was so terrified. But that's the beauty of it. You just,
Yeah.
if you can catch your co-caster off guard like that, I think that's where the best moments come.
Oh, the worst thing I think I did in LPL, I started joking about capital punishment.
Oh,
And I don't know why. I don't know.
I was
what
on that cast with you, and you
bolt of
just doubled down.
stupidity hit
I was
me in
like,
the
"Shut
side of
up!"
the head. I was just like,
Oh.
I don't know what I said. I don't even remember what I said.
Classic.
I just remember,
Injection.
yeah, this stupid fucking thing came out of my mouth, and I was like, oh fuck. I can't talk about this on broadcast. And then I was like, all right, time to dig my way out of this one. Like, went into another sentence. I'm like, what am I doing? Just like, I'm going to stop talking now. Dagda, over to you.
Yo, this happened like a week ago. Sorry, medic. My last contribute story, because it's very relevant as well. I was talking about how
Dagger's just written what Munch said on the cast in chat. Apparently, he said, "Do they have capital punishment in China?" It's like the opening line.
That was a reasonable
Like,
concept.
why did that come to you? What?
Right.
No. We need context. Because like, where did you go? Hey, League of Legends, Jin, Ari, skill shots, Fantasy World 2. Hey, Dagda.
Quick question.
It was
do they have capital punishment in China?
I was just like,
And Dagda immediately invoked his right to remain silent.
I was just like, I'm gonna move this conversation swiftly on to a different topic here.
oh my god.
I think the crux of it was someone had made a really, really awful play, and the idea was like that should be punishable by death. But even that is like pretty far beyond what you really should say on a cast. And then I'd like advance that joke a step further. I was like, what? Why am I doing this to myself? Do I hate my job? Like, do I hate this career, or what? Yeah.
Foxy, sorry, you were in the story.
That was worth interrupting though. That was even better than I could have imagined. There was this player. I was doing the NLC, which is like the UK and the Nordic League. Last week, January. This is fresh. This happened a week ago. And there's a player who's he won the game, played well, got an interview, was cocky, and then the next day we're talking about him, and I said, like, everyone was gassing him up. So I was like, yo, you gotta be careful. You do that too much, and his head will be too big. He won't be able to fit his head out the door. Won't be able to leave his room. He'll have to jump out the window. And then it was like, the way I phrased it was like, he should just go kill himself. He should just jump out the window. He'll be so cocky.
That's amazing.
And like, as I said it, I was like, I did not. This is the problem of just saying whatever comes to your mind. Is sometimes you phrase it in the worst way possible.
I still remember the only moment I really fucked up in a cast, and I want to blame it more on my co-caster than myself, because I was talking. My co-caster was like, "Hey, medic, what was your favorite part about being a doctor?" And I was like, "Oh, here's a really cool medical story. If a child is too short, what you can do is you can break their bones, pull them apart, and then in the middle grows more bones, so the child becomes taller." And all my co-caster could focus on was like, "Wait, medic, you want to break children's bones?" And I was like, "No, what?" And he just moved on. He never gave me the opportunity to explain myself, and he is in this very room right now. Welcome, Foxdrop.
I remember it so well. Remember it. I remember mentioning it, and you were trying to be like, "No, it's a proper medical procedure.
It is.
You just snap them in half." And then it's like every time you try to describe it, try to defend yourself. How
I
it's a
still get
legitimate
tweets.
thing.
I still get tweets saying, "Hey medic, do you like breaking children's bones?" And I was like, "No."
So hang
I'm
on.
glad
Can I
you
just,
brought this up to just include more of these tweets.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
That's, like,
I actually
that's
just
sure.
want to know,
Break
is
them
this a
all.
real thing?
fuck them up.
So
Yeah.
at what point in a child's like?
Ugh.
So
I've
the-
never
the
heard of
important
breaking
thing,
your
like-
kids' legs before. That doesn't.
Oh no,
Well,
so
I have.
usually
I'm
it's
from
for like
Doncaster, but that's a different. That's a different thing.
incredibly like people whose growth plates are fused or have damage to the growth plates, and they're not growing proportionally to how they should, or if one growth plate has fused and the other side hasn't, you get lopsided basically, right? Because like one leg will grow and the other one won't. So what you do is you crack open I think it's the tib fib. So I think it's the shin and like the bone at the back of the shin. And then you pull them apart. You put an external fixator on. So like a basically scaffolding.
Like a
And then you
splint sort of deal,
slowly,
yeah.
well, like it's more like there are like screws drilled in from the outside.
Oh,
And then
okay.
you slowly like draw out the leg. But because children's bones grow so quickly, the gap between the bones will like fill in. And so you can match the height discrepancy.
Damn.
It's easier
you
to
get
say
the
I like
people
should
breaking
be a
children's
doctor or
bones, to be
something.
honest.
You kick out.
That's crazy.
Bring, bring. Oh wait, there's a kid.
Oi.
you gotta do it.
We've got another one for you.
It's good. Shop. Oh god. Well, this took a turn. Dagda, what's the worst thing you've ever said on cast?
I don't even know. Like,
I feel like
I'm
you're
just
a
an
good
idiot
boy,
in general. There's
usually.
probably just too many of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't. I actually don't know. Like at this moment, I'm sure I've said some really stupid things on the LPL. Like, there's too many days for you not to said something stupid.
Don't limit yourself to the LPL, mate. I'm sure you said some stupid stuff everywhere.
True.
Yeah.
Honestly, everything I say in the
Drunk
LPL is stupid anyway. So maybe we should be more specific.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah.
I have a
don't know.
fleeting question that is of quite high importance. Is
Oh,
this
sure.
banana too green to eat?
No. That's good.
Nah,
mate.
you're good.
That's good.
Are you sure?
It'll be
It's
harder
pretty
to
green.
open, but it will be.
It will be a
just
bit
right.
stringy, yeah.
It'll be like
It'll be just a bit stringy.
no, the stringy
Right,
ones.
wait. Let's see how he opens his banana.
ones,
That's the important
Well,
thing.
this is the thing. I can't do it with my hands, so I have to use my teeth. So I either go from the. Oh, never mind. I can't do it with my hands.
Ah,
Do you not do it the way
Hulk
monkeys do
mode
it?
open this bad.
So-
Yeah,
the way-
you're meant to squeeze the other end.
Squeeze the end.
Yeah.
Of it. Yeah. pops
Squeeze
it
the
out.
This
tip.
one.
Squeeze,
Yeah,
squeeze
exactly.
The tip, though.
I
Yeah.
don't like doing it
here.
that way. I don't.
This is on Twitch. I probably shouldn't do too much. Okay.
Get our new channel
I'll
back.
take it down.
It also gives you a handle, which is quite nice.
Yeah,
You
but
have
it's a
this little-
floppy
Yeah,
handle.
but no, but that's a handle that will disappear as you consume the banana. The other handle.
Well, this
doesn't
isn't much of a
disappear.
handle.
I don't know. I
Let's
don't
be
know
real.
what universe
I've
everybody
full
came from. This happened like 10 years ago or something. Somebody wrote this article that was like, hey, you can open bananas the wrong way around. And everyone was like, I'm a monkey now. Monkeys do it. I gotta do it. And like, there's a handle. It's like,
I mean,
at what point
they're
do you
the
struggle
experts,
with
right?
a banana?
Forget civilization, become monkey.
Well, actually,
No,
that's a really
actually,
difficult to argue.
Have you heard about this study that apparently they tried to see if they could teach a chimp to be a child, and they had to cut the study short because the child was actually acting more like a chimp?
Yeah. I've heard of
Really?
yeah. They're just like, actually, our child is just a monkey now. We probably messed up somewhere here.
Then he grew up. and now he's
Children are
passing-
dumb.
I was going to say, yeah, this is just the
Wow.
story of Dagda's parentage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
dear.
All right.
Christ.
Can I? I'm sure you have places to go, Munch, with your script, etc. But can I? There's a question that came up earlier that I thought about that I kind of want to raise, and I want your guys'
Sure.
opinions
Yeah,
on
yeah.
it. So you know how we were talking about how you kind of have to just be yourself on cast,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes. How have you guys dealt with not really having a separation? Because for me, like, last year I was very deliberate in being like, okay, I'm just gonna be myself on Twitter, on social media. I will share the bad times, I'll share the good times, and I'll be like, I'll be honest with people. And it's difficult at times, right? Because like there's a drive to be like just a perfect person all the time, and that's what gets you likes and that's what gets you views. But also like I found myself calling myself medic around the house. I'll be like, come on, medic, you need to do this. And it's like there are probably weeks I've go past that I don't actually use my own name when I'm talking to myself.
Yeah.
And it's this weird idea that like at some point you have to have a personal private separation. And maybe lockdown has like blurred those for me. But also I find it difficult to take time just to be non-monetized and non-streaming
Yeah.
and just sit and
Mm.
relax. I feel bad if I like today I watched AOT for like 2 hours and I felt bad because it's like, well, I could have
haven't
streamed
been
some Hades, I
productive
could have streamed some Bleak. Exactly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's a strange feeling.
I feel that a lot.
I will say, I think
Yeah.
that is compounded when you stream regularly as well, because it's something I didn't really feel that much last year. Like when I took time off from working LPL, I felt like, oh, thank fuck, I'm just not thinking about LPL for a minute. And I would just like eat a pizza and watch some shit on TV or
Yeah.
whatever, play some Sekiro, whatever it was, right?
Good game. Good game.
Or go to the
Good
pub
game.
with go to the pub with Dagda and have the ideas for Bevvies with the Boys. But in off season, when we started doing Bevvies with the Boys every week, and I was doing a Dexerto show about Worlds every week, and I was streaming every day in between, and doing a couple of freelance gigs there. It felt like whenever I had an off day that I didn't do anything, by the end of the day, I was like beating myself up that it was like, every other day's been so good. Why the fuck are you so shit today? Like,
Yep.
what the fuck is wrong with you? We need to keep this going. Like, you can either be productive today or you're a failure and you're never going to succeed. Like, that's the kind of level of thought that you get to. So to answer your question, I have not dealt with that very clearly. This is now my therapy session.
I mean, that's why I brought up the question. So let's just therapize each other.
I don't really have like, because I don't. I think out of everyone here, I stream the least, I tweet the least. I'm not as active on like social media and that kind of stuff. But the biggest separation issue I've had is that like, I got like one of the biggest flaws from my casting last year was like, hey, your knowledge isn't high enough. We got to build up your knowledge. We got to get you to a point where it's decent. But now I find that I can't stop thinking about League of Legends, and I don't actually ever take time off. So I'll literally go, okay, like I've taken a schedule where I'm like really strong with myself, where it's like I get up at 6 a.m. every day because I have to get up at 5 a.m. on my days off. So 6 a.m. I get up, I've got my time for, this is where I get my coffee, this is what I do my thing. But if I have a day off, this is my time off. And I kind of try and treasure that. But what ends up happening is I'll get like half hour in and I'm kind of like, because I watch League of Legends in my downtime. So because it's what you do.
Yep.
And then it'd be like, that's a weird interaction. I didn't know that's how that worked. So suddenly I'm looking at like Camille does magic damage on her ultimate. I was like, okay. Well, doesn't that work with Divine Sunder?
So
because
what's
Divine
the
Sunder has magic
scaling?
pen. And then I'm like down this fucking rabbit hole of League of Legends. And it's 45 minutes later. And suddenly I'm looking at an LPL team and going, yeah, they could. That's why this worked in this game at this point in time. And it was just like, fuck's sake, just stop working. Like, stop, put the thing down.
I mean, it's part of monetizing your hobby, right? Like when your job is your hobby. Sorry, Foxdrop.
No. I think I'm a bit different to you guys because I started as a streamer, right? Well, or YouTuber streamer. So, but I know exactly like the guilt of not working is the worst when it's something you can do at home. You know, that is just the absolute worst, and you can do it at any time.
Yeah,
it's like, and trying to reinforce the schedule is only ever self-imposed, and that itself is very difficult to do. Because, you know, you could be right now. Why am I on this fucking show? I could be streaming right now. I mean, I was streaming literally before the show. I had like 2 hours. And I was like, it's only 2 hours. I can't do a decent stream. Well, I may as well stream something. I've got because I haven't, you know, it's that kind of thing. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But I just, you know, I think more to your point, Medic, what you're saying about talking to yourself and like calling yourself medic and trying to be yourself. I think that's a really interesting concept because I think it's partially just your personality type. So I see people who post all the time on like Instagram or socials or whatever. And I just think to myself, how do you do that? You know, because if it was, I can go days without posting anything on any kind of socials because I just can't be arsed. Like, it's just not my jam. But at the same time, I feel like my career as like a YouTuber / streamer / caster / League of Legends guy, whatever, is like Dan Wyatt is very much Foxdrop at this point. You know, like I'm basically hand in hand. Like I've met you all in real life, and I'm pretty much just like I am online, but in person. And when I'm playing WoW and I stand in the fire and die, I'm like, come on, Foxy, you dickhead, what are you doing? You know, and that's just how it is. And and there are benefits to that, being able to carry over a more like making a professional environment a bit more personal. I feel like personally, that's one of one of my strengths, or what I feel like I bring to a team is like I'm not gonna be all like ball busty and heighty tighty about, I don't know what heighty tighty was that even mean. I'm not
Hoity toity.
hoity toity. Yeah.
Which actually, in
Not gonna
hindsight,
be-
is an even weirder phrase when you think about
Well,
it.
yeah.
Not gonna be Mr. Strict, prim and proper. I'm not gonna. I like to chill out, and have, but that's also a downside for some people because they do not click with having a more chilled out atmosphere. They prefer the more rigid style. They prefer more routine. Like, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this. What we're talking about in this segment, I'll be like, I don't fucking know. Like, I know we're talking about the two teams. We'll just have a chat about that. But there are some people who get proper anxiety. I know they get mega stressed out if they don't know what they have to say, what they're gonna say, what point they're gonna say. And it's just totally depends on like your personality type, I think, and like how you deal with those things.
I think as well, especially in the world of broadcast, like moving away from streaming and towards actual broadcast. Well, not actual broadcast. That sounded derogatory. You know what I mean.
Streaming doesn't count, okay? You do it in your living room. Fuck off.
It's in a studio. It's not broadcast. But I know like, as someone who's done a lot of hosting and play-by-play is kind of a pseudo-host role, especially in LPL where you're doing A blocks before the games and you're doing like essentially a desk segment after each game. I find that I get very anxious leading up to, if it's an important game and I don't feel like I've prepped enough and I don't have like, here are the topics I want to talk about before the game, here are the storylines that I want to set up before the game. If I don't have that framework in place, I start to get like really nervous before nervous isn't the right word. It's like you get like a knot in your stomach and you're like, oh fuck, I'm gonna fuck this up. If I don't quickly write something down and have some bullet points here, I'm gonna fuck this up. And like once the camera goes on, it turns out it's fine because I'm just chatting to Dagda or I'm chatting to Lyric, and we've done it 100 times before, and I know he's got my back, and it is fine. It's always fine. And sometimes, as we said before, sometimes those are the best casts anyway because it's more natural. But there's still that feeling of, it's almost the same guilt as the day off when you're streaming all the time. It's like, I have not worked hard enough. I don't fucking deserve this. I'm going to fuck up. I'm going to be a failure. And it's like all in this like singular minute of just like, fuck, that goes on in your head.
So I think part of that as well is that like the further I've got into esports, the harder it is for me to have connections with the people, because I only got into esports like 3 years ago, essentially, right? Like full time. And I am finding it pretty difficult to keep in contact with my regular friends because I'm living in Shanghai. I'm on a different time zone to everyone. My weekend schedule is completely gone because I'm working broadcasts on evenings when they're all out of work and I'm not able to actually get involved with it. So more and more I find myself getting involved with esports people and we're all kind of working a similar thing. But I think that's where a lot of the pressure comes from as well, where their schedule is different to mine, but I'm going to take time off or I'm going to do my thing. And I'm like, oh, well, Medic, Foxy and Munch are all streaming. Fuck, I should really be streaming right now. You know what? Am I working hard enough? Like, they're working their fucking asses off. Like, I know, like, this person's been in and out 7 days a week and they're still streaming or they're putting up photos on their Instagram of them, like, researching this thing or that thing. And, like, I think that's where a lot of that comes from as well, is that, like, that constant comparison to your peers and going, like, well, they look like they're working twice as hard as I am, so I should really be working twice as hard.
Yep.
I think it just feeds into this vicious loop where then you start posting on your Instagram, well, I'm fucking working, fuck you guys. And then they're like, wait, this guy's working. It's like, So, yeah, I think it just all feeds into itself.
There's like a degree of imposter syndrome where, like, I still don't think I deserve to do the job I do, right? Like, I just, it's the Among Us. Right? I'm sus. But like, I mean, I cast the last 3 LEC finals. I've cast a world quarterfinal, and every time I go onto the LEC desk, I'm like, "Hey, I haven't done enough prep. I'm not ready. I'm not good enough for this, right?" And then alongside that, there's the idea that, and this is kind of what I was trying to push against last year with the being more open and honest on social media, is like everyone just posts their success, right? Like in the end, I see all of this cool content from all of these like 500 different sources that I follow. And like, even if each one of those is only doing something once a week, to me, it looks like it's this plethora. It's all of this content, all of this stuff is happening. I'm like, but I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
And it becomes just so overwhelming. And like, I tried to take a day off yesterday and I kind of managed to, but I ended up watching LPL, obviously. And I spent like a couple of hours doing like semi-caster reviews, being like, oh, I could steal that, oh, I could use that, etc. And then today tried to take a day off and I streamed for a couple of hours and now I'm doing this. And it's like, obviously, like I really enjoy this and it's good to be on, but like, when was the last time I actually took a day where I didn't do something like that? I streamed like 200 hours in December, and that was meant to be my month off so I could relax and do other things, right? Like,
I do want to like steer the conversation slightly there though, because I think that's an interesting topic that you bring up, because one thing I've personally found, and actually it's something that I found incredibly stressful over the last like week and a half, is I was streaming almost every day during off season. There was a couple of times where obviously I lapsed a little bit, but generally speaking, I was streaming most days, at least for a couple of hours. And I found that once LPL started, and I obviously got way, way busier, it's on every morning, so at least like 5 hours every day is spent watching LPL, which doesn't sound like a lot of work, but when it's every single day, it's like mentally taxing to focus 5 hours on the same thing every day, especially when everyone's playing the same comps. Fuck me, I wish people would mix it up more. Separate gripe.
Have you heard of Gragas and Renekton? I love them. They're the best.
Don't get that much Gragas, honestly. I'd love to see more Gragas.
You know what? You can keep your ivory top. I don't want Price to come over with that bullshit.
Nah, right? Fucking nah. Anyway, we'll move on to League of Legends a little bit. But what I found was I actually wanted to stream, and I found that when I did stream, I streamed a little bit in New Vegas, which it was like, nobody gives a shit about me playing New Vegas, right? I'm not a big streamer. I don't think I'm ever going to be a big streamer. Even if I get really famous, I'll only get viewers that are either people that know me or have been watching me for a long time, or people that are like, oh, hey, I know that guy from this thing. I'll check out his stream, right? I'm not like a big stream personality. I'm not going to be the Tyler one that fucking screams and brings in these massive Twitch clips that are going to hit the front page of Reddit. That's not me.
You're not being deliberately agitated.
And I'm never going to try to be that person, because it's not worth the fucking effort. I'm not even going to be good at it if I even try. So just, I'll do me. Those guys can do them, right? But what I found was, even playing games where the viewership is shit, if you can just close the window that shows how much viewership you're getting and just fucking play the game, enjoy the game as if you're not streaming, and just glance at chat every now and then, it's actually quite relaxing. And it's actually, I found that I was enjoying doing that with stream more than I would have enjoyed just playing New Vegas. Because especially with a game like New Vegas, where there's a lot of just walking around like, where the fuck am I? What the fuck am I meant to be doing right now? Like, having chat to bounce off of, having people in there that already have played the game and can give you pointers, and like when something goes fucking crazy in the game, you're like, yo, what the fuck? And everyone else is like, yo, what the fuck? Like, that feeling of community is incredibly refreshing and incredibly reassuring. And I found that streaming on days off and just doing more relaxed stuff like that, or Dark Souls isn't that relaxed, but but like playing games that I enjoy instead of League of Legends solo queue, which I am a massive addict and I need to play less of, I found that was more rejuvenating for me than actually just taking a day off, aside from watching Peaky Blinders, but that's like a separate category entirely. But yeah, I don't know how you guys feel about that. Do you get the same feeling, or is it more, because you guys have much bigger streams than I do? I get like 10 to 20 viewers. You guys get like hundreds. So I don't know what the difference is there in like responsibility to be streamery, if that's a word.
So I'll give a quick answer, like, because I think Foxdrop has a better insight on this than I do. I think I feel bad when I'm not entertaining on my stream. Like, I get like 100 to 200 people if I play Hades, which is, I don't play League at the moment. Like, I'm so burnt on the game that it's enough to cast it each weekend. So yeah, I get like 100 to 200 viewers, and some days, some runs, I'll sit down and be like, hey guys, I'm going to concentrate on the run. And then after I finish the first fucking room, so like 4 seconds into the run, I'm already looking at chat and trying to interact. And I feel like someone will put a message in. I'm like, oh, mate, I'm really sorry. I'll read that afterwards. And then I'll quickly look back, and then I'll be like glancing as I'm fighting enemies. And then in the end, I feel bad because I'm like, I'm slow and I'm not interacting with chat properly. And there have been times like where I've just wanted to chuck up a stream, have some drinks, and not be on my channel, and just be like, hey, no face cam. Here's my voice modulated so no one knows it's me. I can say whatever the fuck I want. VTuber. Yeah, like kind of VTuber, but also like, I just don't want it associated with me in any way. I just want to be able to like interact with cool people that I enjoy interacting with while not having it ever come back to me. And not because I want to say like racist shit or sexist shit or anything like that, right? I know anyone that knows me knows that's not where my mind is, but just because I don't want to have to be medic. I just want to be a person that enjoys a game. And like it's the same in the Discord. Like I'm in a speedrunning Discord for Hades, and I've had a few people be like, "Oh, you medic the league caster?" I'm like, "Nope, in here I'm medic the speedrunner. I'm just here to run the game. I'm just here to enjoy myself. I hope you enjoy the LEC when you watch it, because it's just a fucking weight when you're a personality. Like it's just a lot of pressure all the time to be someone that people aspire to be like. And I really appreciate that anyone would ever want to be like me, but also fuck that shit. I'm so broken. Like just be like someone better, please.
Yeah. And it always feels like you feel guilty for feeling bad about any of this, right? Because so many people would aspire to this. So many people want this.
Exactly, right?
And you feel guilty for feeling bad, but you still have to have your own fucking emotions, right? You can't just be a fucking robot just because everyone wants you to. Sorry, I feel like I spoke over you there, Foxdrop.
No. I mean, it's very true. It's like the guilt of feeling bad is definitely real. Because as you say, there are people who are they're sweating their nads off trying to get where we are, you know, and just feel like you're taking it for granted. You're this, you're that, you know. And I think to Medic's point, like when feeling bad about not interacting with chat, I feel there's always one or two knobheads who are like, "Oh, does this streamer not read chat because you haven't looked at it for like 10 seconds?" And it was like
they just tuned in and put that one message, and they're like, "What the fuck, bro?" Yeah.
But it's for me, it's more like if I'm not playing League, I feel like there's no point streaming, because it's you know, League is my main game. I get the most viewers, and I'm like that. It's what people know me for. It's what people want to watch me do. So if I play something else, people don't watch, and then like when there's not that many viewers, so aren't that many followers, and then you're not getting many subs, and you're not getting, you know. And from I guess maybe it's because I've been streaming for so long, and it had been like my full-time job for a while as well. Honestly, up until this year when I've been getting LEC and looking at doing other stuff too. It's just it just feels very much like, what's the point of streaming if it's not League? Because from a business standpoint, numbers are starting there.
Yeah.
So I could have spent 3 hours listening to good music, copyrighted music, you know, in my Jimmy jams, shoveling in spaghetti, just chilling out, not paying any attention to what's going on, just relaxing, and I would have gotten 0 followers, 0 subs, 0 whatever. Or I could have streamed them and, you know, done that and gotten like 3 followers. And, you know, it's just from that perspective, I think you just have to really enjoy streaming itself. And I also think League is one of the worst games to stream because it's a competitive game and it's a team game. So, like, I mean, dare I say, it's a bit tilt-inducing playing League of Legends.
What? Excuse me.
Controversial opinion.
Excuse me, Sir Foxdrop. I don't believe you just said that. This is the League God.
Daddy Riot, is that you?
Yeah.
Call me Daddy Riot.
I did. Were you not listening? I do actually want to bounce off of you slightly, Foxdrop, here. I want to ask, because you stream on Facebook, if I'm not mistaken.
I did.
What was the? Oh, you did. Now. Past tense. Are you back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tense,
Wait, actually, I've been on your stream since
you're back from the Badlands.
What was?
You came back in 2020, didn't you?
Yeah.
What was the transition like? What was it like being on Facebook? What's it like being back on Twitch? Like.
Yeah, it was interesting because obviously, so Facebook is still pretty janky, but back then it was really janky. And it was really. I'm so happy I got the opportunity to do it.
Because you're fucking loaded now.
Who do you think bought the house?
Well,
sorry,
these may look like walls, but they're actually just Facebook coins.
Farmville bought this house.
Exactly. Zucky himself. It was it was an opportunity to do League of Legends, but get paid a stable amount of money. Okay, so whenever I've been doing League of Legends, I started my YouTube in 2012. So from 2012 all the way up to now, if your views are up, you get good money. If your views are down, you get bad money. If you're YouTube for streaming, maybe you've got your sugar daddy in chat that month and he's just loading you with loads of donations. Maybe you don't. You know, it's all up in the air. Maybe you're this, maybe you're that. Maybe you've got this casting gig, maybe you haven't. Maybe your masters has invited you this split, maybe it hasn't.
Sorry, that was the chat.
Oh, okay.
You were asking
Okay,
what I was
sorry.
drinking, so I thought instead of interrupting, I would just hold it up for chat.
That's fine. Sorry.
By doing that, I then interrupt.
Nice job.
I appreciate you leaning into the branding, but Foxdrop, continue.
What was I saying? Yeah, so the money, you kind of just take what you can get, and it's not guaranteed money, it's not salaried stuff, whatever. So when I got Facebook and it was like, yo, as long as you stream a certain amount of time, you're gonna get a certain amount of money. Doesn't matter how many people watch you, doesn't matter if you get, you know, the donations, the subs, whatever. It really helped me to kind of put into perspective the fact that I don't have to grind my bones into dust 24/7, and I can actually do other things in life as well. And I can focus on the process, or I guess like the journey more than the destination. So for example, like when I was streaming, I learned a lot of lessons about how to be a good streamer, because I wasn't worried about the results of like, you know, how many viewers am I getting, because I could do whatever I wanted. I could stream Minecraft, I could stream League, I could stream just tuning with the bollocks out. Probably not, to be fair, but I could, in theory.
You get banned, but you could do it.
It was off camera.
Onlyfans.com/Foxdrop.
So if I could just OnlyFans wasn't a thing back then, so unfortunately. But yeah,
that could have been the way. That could have been it.
I played like Sekiro, I played Dark Souls, I played games that I wanted to play, and I realized actually I'm just burnt out on grinding League every single day. I can still be a good streamer, I just don't have to play League. So it taught me quite a few things, and I appreciate that. And then transitioning back onto Twitch also helped me appreciate that if I work hard, the sky's the limit, you know? Like you don't have a level of what you're being paid at. Now, don't get me wrong, Facebook money is pretty high. So reaching that level is not a level I've managed to reach yet. But in general, you know, there is definitely a cap on what you can achieve if in a situation where you're salaried like that for like also Facebook. So I come back to Twitch. I'm like, yo, I'm a good streamer now. I can do it all. I'm looking forward to it. And then I just like, bam. It was really good to begin with. It was great for a few months. Then I got onto EU Masters in spring 2020. And I had so much fun casting that I realized that's what I want to do. And it fucked up streaming for the rest of my life. Because now I realize like that actually isn't my main jam. Like I enjoy streaming, don't get me wrong, but like I love casting. I really enjoy it. And every time I get I just barely build myself back up to being a good, consistent streamer. And then E-Masters Summer came around. And then that knocked me down into the dirt again. And then All Stars came around. And that knocked me down into the dirt again. And it's like just, you know, this part of the reason why I'm just so happy to be given the opportunity to cast at LEC as well, because I'm so passionate about casting now. I know I said about how I'm very like, what happens, laissez-faire, whatever. That doesn't mean I don't. It doesn't mean I don't care, because I'm very passionate about it. But I also don't care. Does that make sense? I don't know. Like I'm yeah. It's weird how those two things can kind of coexist. But for anyone, even watching this right now, who's come over from my stream, or
Foxdrop doesn't care about you.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Fuck you guys, basically. So yeah.
I kind of want to take it back a step, because like the kind of the things you're talking about, like with feeling the need to stream and want to stream League of Legends, have to stream League of Legends. I think that's part of the reason like I'm so nervous about starting streaming, is that like I kind of like to keep it as my time. Where it's like, you know what, I feel like streaming TFT today, or not streaming, just playing TFT today. I don't really want to go and like try hard in League or really focus on whatever the hell's going on in League of Legends. I'll just play TFT, or I'll play some other stupid thing I've got on my PC. And like even when I'm playing, say I've like, okay, cool, I'm gonna chill out, I'm gonna play a game of League, and then someone goes, hey, are you Dagda? And suddenly I'm like, My shoulders go up. I'm tense. I'm like, I'm fucking try hard the shit out of this game. I'm not losing this goddamn game. I was just like, I don't know. Maybe because I'm a support. Maybe I'm playing top or jungle or mid, and suddenly I'm like, oh fuck, this guy's gonna think I'm shit. They're gonna start talking shit. It's gonna go on Reddit and Twitter. I beat the fuck out of Dag. I'm like, it's stuff like that where I'm like, this is why I'm just like, I don't think I want to stream. I'm not like ready to go into that mentality of like, well, I've got to either think about, oh, well, I really should be playing League of Legends today because that's what my stream is. That's what it's all about. I want to go, hey, I can play TFT and not think about it. And then if I end up being recognized, it's just like, no, I'm just a fan. It's like, no, it's not even me.
That's my line. Legit, people say real Foxdrop. I'm like, no, I just love him. How could you not? And then I just go off, gas myself.
I just love him so much. Twitch.tv/Foxdrop, YouTube.com/Foxdrop. Let's just go and have a look.
And then they click on the channel and they see you live typing that shit about yourself. They're like, whoa, what the fuck?
There's something as well, like you mentioned not wanting to start casting. Sorry, not wanting to start streaming. I thought you were going to go in a different direction, but either way, I can. It's still relatable. Is I feel like there's a almost like a sense of inertia when it comes to content creation, because I haven't uploaded on my YouTube for quite a while, and that's because I had so many plans for things I wanted to do with the new season. You know, new series to do, like different types of gameplays, guides, whatever.
Yeah.
Now. That fell through.
It's like you weren't just going to do this is the most broken build, 7,000 AP
right.
Vigar.
My last video, new Talia buffs are insane. 1,000 plus AP one shots. Like, that was still happening.
I mean, she is fucking broken. Let's be honest.
Holy shit, Talia.
No, that would still stay. But I was gonna, I just had different ideas for different things to do, and I wanted to, it's almost like a fresh start with the fresh season. I've read loads of notes and blah blah blah, and then I got invited to All Stars, and then casting became more of a thing, and basically I haven't made start any of these series, and so that means I just haven't uploaded anything. And it's similar to like streaming, where you just think, yeah, but I really want to do this, and I really want to like make a good go of it. I've got to get some like alerts done. I've got to make an overlay proper. I need to have like a stream schedule, and because you don't ever get those things sorted, you just never fucking stream, even though that's, just do it. Just chuck something up there, just go for it. But for me, that's just breaking that inertia, and just almost like not having a reason to do it is good enough reason to do it. You don't have to have a good reason.
It's the perfect is the enemy of good, right? Like, or perfect is the enemy of complete, right? Like, if you're trying to make everything perfect the first time you fucking do it, you're never actually ever going to do anything. It's better to put out a fucking shoddy ass piece of work than it is to put out nothing.
So I have a random weird anecdote. My mum watched some documentary or something. I can't remember. Or like a friend told her something. Doesn't matter where it came from. She came in and basically was like, look, guys, I got this really great quote. It's going to motivate everyone. And I honestly don't remember what the quote is at this point. But the gist of it was like,
the good story.
It was like story. The gist of it was like, don't put it off because it's not going to be perfect. Just do it and get something done, right?
But so like, perfect is the enemy of good.
Yeah, like that's the concept, right? It wasn't that, but that was the concept. And we immediately like intentionally misinterpreted her as like, why do something well when you can be shit now? And so now anytime anything needs doing in the house, this has been for like a month now, anytime anything needs to be doing, it's like, we could do it well tomorrow, or we do a really shit job now. Huh? What are you getting? No, we can do a shit job. So shit job now.
I've actually
definitely the way
shit
forward.
Job now.
Speaking of kind of things that have motivated you the last little while, I was watching Philip DeFranco, and he had one that's he was kind of talking about like what's been motivating him for the last little bit, and he was just like, I'm better than this, was just a saying that he's been saying a lot over and over again. And I've actually been finding that's been super helpful, where like I'm done in, I don't want to do anything, I'm just being lazy, like I don't want to go for the jog that I promised myself I'd go for the last 2 weeks in a row, and then it's just like, I'm better than this. Right, and then you're kind of like, oh god, yeah,
it's too relatable.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go. And I found that that's really helpful. But I think there are like certain phrases or things like that that can help in just actually getting you moving and going. But yeah, that's just one that's kind of stood out to me.
It's like, it's a weird one, because I had one last year, which was there are people you don't know yet that will need you or that will rely on you, right? And it's like, there are people you haven't met yet in your life that will like enjoy having you in their lives, right? And like, fuck that shit. And at the time, at the time it was great, right? But I talked to Munch a little bit earlier, and I was like, "Is it cool if we talk about depression and such?" And I'm gonna kind of lead us down that route, so I hope that's okay with everyone, right? But like, fuck the world, fuck everything that is going on. I have no motivation to do anything that I used to want to do. I had great plans for like 2020. That all fucking fell through. I hated as I said earlier, I cast fucking 2 LEC finals. Didn't enjoy either of them. I cast a Worlds quarterfinal. It was cool. Like there was no semblance of like feeling like I'd accomplished something with the year. And every year up until then, I'd felt like it. And now 2020's come around. 2021's come around. It's like, where are my endorphins?
Yeah.
Please, sir.
Where's the
I would
payoff?
like some. Like I even at the end of 2020, I put out a tweet being like, "Hey, objectively, this is a fucking awesome year. I gained 20% on my Twitter followers. I did all this cool shit. I did all of this like amazing stuff. I feel like shit. All I want to do is not play League of Legends for 2 months." And then I went, and I'm gonna mention it because I have to, because it's part of the story and not because I'm bragging. Okay,
Yeah.
Everyone cool with that.
Yeah,
okay?
mate, we won't rib you. I promise we won't rib you.
And in the off
Wait,
season,
he's gonna bring up his world record. He's gonna fucking bring it up, isn't he? He's gonna.
and in the off season, I went and played a small indie game that not many of you will know about.
Oh,
Called Hades, and I set a world record, and that was cool, right? And like, but there's no sense of accomplishment. There's not like, I cast the LEC. I think I did an okay job this week. There's a lot I can work on, but like, I just don't have any of that drive to like improve and do stuff and be better. And it's like, I know I should have it, and like people want me to have it because people look to like us to have it and to be like guiding lights and to be people like inspirational, right?
Mhm.
I've always wanted to be an aspirational person. I've always wanted to improve people's lives, and sometimes the way you improve people's lives is like by being someone they can look to and say, "Hey, Medic understands," or "Aaron understands. Aaron can do it," right? And I just don't have that. I just like fuck 2021.
Yeah.
Fuck it all. Like I'm stuck at home, and all I want to do is cry most of the time. So
There's two things that immediately jumps to my mind when I hear you say that. Firstly, like you describe about how it was a great year for 2020 objectively, and then you list off professional accomplishments. So it's like maybe a great year for Medic, but
sure.
not so great of a year for Aaron.
Aaron Chamberlain fucking hates everything. So I got really fit, and then now I'm fat again. So that was...
I mean, you're in better shape than I am, mate. So I've got my little
I know.
pregnancy belly going on and my fucking custard underneath my arms. So I wouldn't complain too much on that one.
we got the same body type. I love it. I'm waiting on the dad. Meanwhile, I'm spaghetti noodle arms.
Oh baby.
There's one specific word you use, Medic, which I'm gonna say is a dangerous word. Okay, and I try and tell myself this as well. But you said the word "should." Like things should be better, things should be okay. I should be happy. I should be this. I should be that. Should is a dangerous word. Okay, because should sets up expectation, and then when those expectations aren't met, disappointment, feeling bad, whatever. And it's like if you can maybe think, if you can just phrase things sort of things should be better, as in things could be better. Right? Things could be better. I could be happier. I could be doing more. I could be doing this. I could be doing this. I could be doing that. Because when you say could, it's like, yeah, it could be happening, but it's not. Fuck it. It could be happening over here, but it's not. Fuck it. Do you know what I mean? And then it just almost kind of takes out the sting of thinking about it in that way, because it's just a thing, you know. And it's not necessarily a good or a bad thing that's happened. It's just something that could have happened. And then, you know, at least in my experience, it makes you feel more satisfied with where you are at the moment, because it's not a good or a bad place where you are. You've not missed out on a good or a bad thing, because they could have happened, not should have happened.
I think as well, one of the, and this is something that is not, it's easier said than done, right? And this is something I'm working on as well, because I feel the exact same as you, Aaron, where like 2020 for me was, you know, professionally the best year of my life, right? I went from some guy that's worked in esports for 6 fucking years and yet still nobody knows who the fuck he is, right?
Hey, I knew who you were.
Oh,
I knew
mate.
you were.
Okay, well,
You're
that's
the first guy I cast with, Munch.
Rob didn't at the end of 2020. He still hadn't figured it out at that point.
I worked with you. You're
Exactly,
my first
and he still hadn't
international
figured it
casting
out.
Gig.
We lived together, and he was like, "Who's that guy?" He was talking to my girlfriend, like, "Who the fuck is that guy?" but like objectively, best year of my life in terms of my career, right? I cast an LPL final, which is fucking like in my first year of being in a major region, I got to do a major region final of one of the best regions in the world. Fucking crazy, right? But at the end of the day, I was still kind of like, this isn't good enough. I didn't make Worlds. I'm not the best caster that ever walked the fucking globe. Like, and I have this like this idea of what I eventually want to be, right? Which is like the kind of Gary Lineker's a shit example. I don't want to be like Gary Lineker, but I want to be what Gary Lineker represents, right? Which is like the guy that's been in that fucking world for so long and is so respected that like when Gary Lineker says something, like obviously Gary Lineker's kind of polarizing, right? But the respect,
it's like a John Motson sort of idea.
Yeah, like the person that's I want to be the old bloke that's on the TV that's talking about this shit, and when he says something, people are like, this guy fucking knows. He's been in the sport for 20 years, you know. Like, I want to be that guy for League of Legends eventually. And that's obviously a very long-term goal. But it feels like every time I'm not even remotely close to the best in what I do now, how the fuck am I ever going to be that guy? There's like 24 other people in the scene right now that are more likely candidates to be that guy. And so every time I think about it, I'm like, it doesn't really matter what I'm doing right now. What matters is that I'm not that fucking guy. And my big New Year's resolution this year was smell the fucking roses. And so far I failed miserably at this New Year's resolution. But I'm working on it, right? But one thing that helps, at least for me, is when when I mention that knot in the stomach before you go on cast, and you're like, fuck, I haven't got enough notes, I haven't got enough prep, I haven't got enough stats, I haven't got enough one-liners to say. What I've actually started doing is taking less notes. I'm still like prepping. I'm still looking at the stuff. I'm still like trying to internalize it. But when I turn up on the day, I have like a couple of narrative points that I want to hit. I have a couple of bits that I want to hit, but my notes are super lightweight because last year, what we said earlier was like, sometimes when you don't actually try, it's actually a better cast because you don't have as much bullshit that you've prepared to lean on. So you have to just be you. And it turns out that you got this job because you are you. So maybe that's actually the best way to approach this in the fucking first place, right? And what you find is that you're less focused on the bullshit that you believe is the correct way to do everything. And you're more focused on, well, I'm on fucking camera right now. There's 20,000 people watching. I better be fucking funny, right? And when you get into that mode, and especially because right now, I'm working with Dagda every single cast, which is
horrific, terrible.
Yeah, it's awful. It's really shit. So I have to make the best of every moment. No, but like because we get to work together all the time at the minute, because I can't cast with Lyric, I can't cast with Clement because there's a huge delay when we're casting internationally. It means that we get to really build this rapport, and what I'm trying to do every cast is just enjoy it. And like we have our goals and we have what we need to achieve, and we're building on this thing, and I feel like we're getting better every cast. But one of my like low key primary goals, it doesn't go on the sheet, it doesn't go on my VOD reviews or anything, but like a personal goal for me is like, did I have fun in this cast? Why didn't I have fun in this cast? Okay, next cast, we're gonna have some fucking fun. I'm on a stream talking about fucking League of Legends. It's a fucking video game. Despite what I said in that hype video, it is a game.
It's not a game.
It's not a game. It's the fucking league. But it is a game, right? And I'm fucking 28 years old. I'm not getting any younger, so I'm gonna have some fucking fun while I'm talking about a video game. Because one day I'm gonna go and I'm gonna fucking weld girders or some shit. The dream will die, right?
You
and
are
I'll just
very
go
northern.
and fucking.
Yeah.
I'll go work in Sheffield at the steel mill, right? And then I'll be like, God fucking damn, I was talking about video games for a living. Why the fuck was I so miserable? And I don't want to be the person that looks back and goes, fuck me, what a great career. Why did I fucking hate it? Right? I want to be the person that fucking enjoyed that shit. So that's my big thing this year is like, did I enjoy this? Okay, why didn't I enjoy this? Next time I'm going to enjoy this. Next time I'm going to be like, fuck it. I'm having some fucking fun. So that's my take on it.
You kind of hit on something that like for me is very real, which is you kind of talked about is like put your head up and smell the roses. There's a part of me that's like just headlong into I don't want to look up because then I gotta take at face value everything I've sacrificed for making this thing real. And I can't remember the song by Lil Dicky. It's the one where he talks about like 3 weeks in an LAX or something like that. But basically, he kind of talks about like him giving up his relationship, his friendships, leaving his family, and like moving to go and do this thing that is supposed to be his dream. And it's like, well, like, what if I get there and it doesn't fucking work out? Like, what if in 4 years' time this all blows up and I've given up? Like, I had a friend literally this year who texted me, like a really good friend of mine from when I was a kid, like from 4 years old, was like, "Hey, dude, it sucks that we haven't seen each other. I feel like we've grown apart. Would love to catch up." And I'm like, "Well, it's
Fuck
COVID,
me.
and I'm moving back to Shanghai in a couple of weeks." I
Yep.
broke up with my girlfriend because I was moving again to Shanghai and we weren't going to be together. And I was like, well, there's potentially 11 months gone. And it's kind of like the easiest way for me to not look at this is to just throw myself into work, and then I don't actually have to smell the roses because I don't know what the roses smell like right now, and I don't know if I'm going to like the smell of them.
According to Outcast, they're not good, I will admit.
Yeah, but I think that's a lot of it as well, is that like it's easy in some situations to throw yourself into the work, but when the work starts to drain you and burn you out, and at the end of it you're kind of looking and going, well, what's the end goal here? Like, I've kind of burnt bridges, I've kind of had scorched earth behind me, but what's the end goal? And when I think you lose sight of that, it's going to be really, really hard. And I'm a bit worried for myself that at the moment I've kind of headlonged into this and I don't know if this is all going to work out and what's going to happen when I do lift my head up.
I'll say I'm like 2 years further down the line than you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck, work it out. Like,
Yeah.
I mean that in the most kind and considerate way. But like, I had a girlfriend for 7 years. We broke up because I moved to Berlin. We were gonna get like, I was thinking of proposing, and then I moved and I didn't. Right, and then I don't have any friends in England. I don't have any friends outside of esports. My closest
I'm your
friend is my
in
boss.
England, mate.
Well, you know what I mean, though. Like
I know.
no one.
I know.
I don't talk to anyone from med school. I occasionally talk to people from high school, but it's more of a, oh, are you in this country? No, I'm in this country. Cool discussion, right? I don't have a social life apart from chatting with you guys or chatting with like, I have a couple of people from the UK that I'll chat with every now and again. The only people I consistently talk to are my family, and everything else is work. And like especially over the last couple of years, it's fucking lonely. Firstly, secondly, like you find these. Well, for me at least, I find these fads of enjoyment. So Hades is one of them. I love the Hades community. They're really nice people. But in a year, do I see myself still talking with them? Probably not.
Depends
Right?
if you play in
Like,
Hades, right?
well, yeah, but like it won't be patched that much. Is my expectation, right? So, like, when you put everything into a job and you stop finding the enjoyment in your job, it's what you said, Doctor. Like like the roses don't smell good, and I have nowhere else to go. There's no other garden for me to look at, right? So yeah, that was fucked. That's pretty fucking sad. That's where I am at the moment mentally. Love you all very dearly. I'm gonna get some crisps. I'll be back in a second.
Understandable.
You know.
I will say though that this is the kind of thing where, and I want to say this when Medic's back as well. I will repeat this when Medic's back. But if there's one thing that I've learned, because I felt very similar to Medic, because even before LPL, hang on, I'll wait until he puts his headphones on. So I'm going to repeat what I started here. So I felt very similar to you, Medic. And I've not been in a major region as long as the people, so I think people haven't known my story. But I went to America 2.5 years ago. Was in LA for 8 months, and then came back to the UK for 2 months. Then I was in Las Vegas for a year. came back to the UK for 3 months, then went to China for 9 months. So I've been absent basically from UK friends and family. And obviously I'm still close to my immediate family. But it's weathered on the relationship with like my grandparents, for example. I feel a little bit like I haven't spoken to them enough recently, and now it's almost feels awkward to call because I'm like, I haven't spoken to them recently enough and I don't really know what to say and blah 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 blah. And like my best friend from school, right? I have three friends that I really really want to catch up with, right? But they're all from 3 different friend groups, and we could like play tabletop simulator, right? There is stuff that you can do, but whenever I try and think about organizing it, it's like anxiety. It's like, fuck, what if it's awkward? Like this all depends on me, and it's like I occasionally message these people, but it's not a real conversation. It's just like, oh hey, how are you? And they're like, oh yeah, good. How are you? Yeah, good. I'm doing this thing. Yeah, I'm doing this thing. We have basically nothing in common anymore, aside from just enthusiasm for how cool Warhammer models are. Like, but the thing is, I love these people, and like, it hurts me that I don't have anything more significant to say. And this is one of the reasons that when I worked at ESL, because I worked at for context for anyone that doesn't know, I worked at ESL for a long time, for 4 years almost. And what I found was that because I'd left the north of England, basically, which is where all of my friends were, all my family is. And I moved down to the Midlands. And what I found was I basically had kind of abandoned Joe Fenney to become Munchables, right? Joe Fenney was up in the north. All Joe Fenney's friends were up in the north. And Munchables was down in Leicester. And I had friends in Leicester. It wasn't like I was, like, lonely in that regard. But it felt like I had separated. And I suddenly had a ton of things in common with everyone in Leicester because we were all working at ESL. We all had the same problems, right? We're at the same company, same bullshit, same, like, yeah, there's issues within the company and all of that kind of stuff, right? So you just spend all of your time with these people. And it was fucking great, right? I loved ESL UK, right? And I had lonely nights, I was pretty depressed when I first moved to Leicester because, changing places, I was very alone to start with. But over time, that got better. But the problem was, when ESL UK ended for me, those people still were in a friend group. None of those guys were lonely, right? They all had still each other. There was still the ESL UK family. I had left that family. I no longer had these things in common with these people. I could be like the agony aunt for these people, but I couldn't relate to any of it. But I had left. I'm struggling to speak of this. I 4 gin and tonics in. I'd also left everyone in Doncaster, everyone up north, right? So there's these 2 friend groups that I have, but I don't feel like I can really relate to, and I don't feel like they can relate to me. And especially when you're working in talent, right? Because honestly, in esports, fuck me, the amount of bullshit that you get for being talent, especially if you also work in production, the amount of fucking shit you get, the amount of ragging that you get. And it's like fair enough, right? Because on the surface, it does look like you don't fucking work. Like, you just turn up, you just say funny shit on camera, then you fuck off home and have a wank, right? Like, that's, as far as a lot of people are concerned, that's what casters do.
Only the one? Like, come on.
Per day.
That's a 3 wank.
But, like, I found that everywhere I move, there's that same loneliness again, and there's that same separation from the previous group again. And so I've always been kind of like a butterfly friend group kind of person where I have lots of different friend groups. But what I've found is that I'm at this point now where, like, me and Dagda talk all the time and hang out all the time because we're working all the time. But, like, no offense, Dagda, if the work stops, if we separate, I don't know how far this friendship goes, right? and that's to be discovered. That's nothing to do with Dagda. That's just like, we'll find out, right? But I don't talk to many of my friends from the previous groups at this point, and I'm now like, hang on, how fucking do I have any fucking? If I get married tomorrow, who the fuck is my best man? You know?
Sorry, Munch. 1 second, Dagda, please fucking mute your mic, mate. It's not that difficult.
I unmuted. I unmuted because I heard my name. I was like, I should probably.
Yes, sorry, Munch. You were talking about a very serious issue, and we need, like, please.
I'm getting to the point. I'm getting to the end of the story anyway, and
there we go.
You know,
it's all done.
there will be champagne eventually because I will get married and I'll figure out, you know, who's my best man, right? And it's not that big of a problem because it's not like I'm unhappy every day. It's not like I'm crying into my pillow. But at the same time, it is like, fuck me, man. I feel like I've betrayed all of these different people along the way. And I've had so many people that I'm close friends with. I become close friends with people very quickly. But I feel like I also break these friendships very quickly. And every single time I do that, there's this like guilt that sits with me. And there's now like 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 people along the route that I feel like I've got really close with and then just fucking abandoned and fucked off somewhere else. And like each and every one of those people, I think about occasionally and think, oh, fuck, I've not messaged this person. Oh, fuck, I've not messaged this person in ages. And it's like, am I just a fucking shit person? Am I just a bad friend at this point? Or is this mutual? Because they haven't messaged me either. And then you just fucking think about it. This is the kind of shit that keeps me up at night. I don't know why I'm saying this on the internet.
Yeah,
I didn't throw that to anyone. This is bad hosting.
I'll take it. I'll take it because I if that's Dagda, you have.
I was just gonna say, like, I definitely feel like the year that myself and Munch had in the LPL kind of like forged a really strong friendship between ourselves because it was just like the shit that we had to put up with. You kind of relied on each other, and the fact we lived together was just like. And the fact we both would crack open beers together, hence the show. We ended up getting very, very close. So, I don't know. I think definitely we'll stick around, but yeah, I understand where he's coming from.
Do you mind if I jump in, Medic?
No, Foxy,
Sorry.
take it, mate. Take it, mate.
I just want to say that was one of the things that I used to think about a lot was, like, if I died today, who'd be at my funeral tomorrow? You know, like, I'm friends with all you guys. I like you all.
I'll be there if you invite me, mate. But
well, I'll be dead. So.
He's dead. That was the joke. That was the joke, guys. Come on.
The man is dead.
That was literally the joke. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
But let's be real. Like,
Right, that side.
So if I like funeral stuff is close people, you know.
Yeah.
Sure, if I was your neighbor and we lived close, you'd probably hear about it and you'd probably get invited. But like, you like you say, you're in Shanghai, Berlin, whatever. Like, I have a lot of friends that I'm good friends with that I like a lot, and I know I could rely on them. But would they be at my funeral? You know, and that used to get to me a bit because it's kind of ironic where you live in an online world, and you have so much access to people 24/7, yet you are still so perilously lonely because you just don't have access to people. You know, it's like a paradox. But one of the things that's helped me, because I don't really think about that too much, and he's fucking buggered off, so he's not even going to hear this. But
we'll talk about something else. We'll talk about something else.
What a prick! He just spent like 20 minutes giving us this fucking sub story, and then I'm like,
keep it in your head. Keep it in your head. Keep the point in your head.
Welcome to the show.
What do people think about Seraphine Misfortune bot lanes? They're broken.
Yo, I played with the Seraphine Misfortune and we lost, so
they're really bad.
Yeah,
don't play Seraphine. I really think Seraphine Morgana is the way to go if you hate yourself.
See, we're the LPL, so like what basically happens is like, yeah, that sounds great. I can poke them out, but I can't kill them. Like, I don't know about this one. It's like I can't outplay this.
I've watched your games. Your teams don't care about winning anymore. Like they don't care about kills. They don't care about anything. It's just like, let's not do anything for 15 minutes and then fight over nothing. Like, a dragon will be taken, and then 2 minutes later they will fight in the dragon pit. And I'm like,
it depends
what the
on who
fuck
you're
are you
watching.
both doing?
Like, there's some teams that are just like,
okay.
fucking, we're fighting all the time. Rogue
Okay,
Warriors. Watch a Rogue Warriors game. Rogue Warriors would just be like, fuck it. We're 6,000 goal behind and we're only at first scuttle. We're fighting anyway. It doesn't fucking matter. It's just
Exactly. Like, who am I meant to watch? EDG, IG, WE, F5, PTTG, TAE. Like, there are only so many 3-letter acronyms I can keep in my head.
What
okay?
you know, Medic, what you need to do is you need to watch Munch's Digest, where Munch breaks down all the games that you should watch over the next.
Are we supporting Munch now after he left in the middle of
That is very
Foxdrop
true,
story?
actually.
Like,
Terrible.
This is just a follow on. We support Munch. Munch doesn't support us. You see, you understand how this relationship works.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes
And on
sense.
his point about being a terrible person.
Wait, where is he? He's that way? No, he's this way.
No, he's not. He is that way. You got it right the first time.
No, he's that. Oh, fuck.
No, he is that side. Yeah. I can't
Directions are difficult, okay, Foxdrop?
Remember.
Has
what's
he
funny?
actually just died?
No,
he's-
he went to get a beer. This is how
Okay.
the show
He needed
works.
a refill. He
Yeah.
needed a refill.
No, but he
yeah.
has been in his room.
Well, we'll find out.
Oh yeah, Munch is the best. I agree.
Agreed. I am. Thank you.
You left right in the middle of Foxdrop being like, "Hey Munch, here's something that might help."
Ah, shit. I literally had a coughing fit to end all coughing fits. I swallowed some saliva, it went down the wrong pipe. I basically just died in the hallway. So there's a very real
And
chance
you-
that this is the ghost of Munch.
Yeah, the ghost of Munch.
Um,
So I don't know if the ghost of Munch is in contact with Munch, and if that's revivable or not. But what I was gonna
I
say,
don't know either.
I can't even remember what you were saying before. Honestly.
Sorry.
Um,
I feel really bad now.
yeah.
Talking
No.
about losing contact with friends. The kind
Yeah,
of,
yeah, yeah.
Who comes to your funeral? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. We were just chatting shit. One of the things that's helped me is, and I think this is an outlook that's helped me a lot in a lot of areas, but fuck it, no one cares. That person you haven't spoken to in 7 years isn't thinking about you right now, being like, "What a dick that Munch was."
Yeah.
I guarantee you, he's not thinking that, or she. No one gives a shit, man. And literally, like, this is the thing: is like when I don't know, that person hasn't texted you back and you've texted them twice. It's like, fuck it. You're overthinking it, thinking, "Oh, what if I miss? I'm gonna be dead." No, fuck that. No one cares. Literally, no one cares. And it's all about just like overthinking and just putting yourself in a rut. Professionally, that's helped me as well. What if I do poorly? What if I do this? What if I don't get invited? Fuck it.
Yeah.
If I do a shit job of casting, what's gonna happen? Then I just will go home and I'll do better tomorrow. Okay? Someone says a mean thing about me on Twitter, who cares? Fuck it. If someone, Medic said he's gonna come and then he ditches last minute and he doesn't tell you why. Oh, does he hate me? Oh, no, fuck it. He doesn't care.
I do hate
It's
you,
not-
Munch.
Oh, I know that. Yeah, that's a separate conversation. We'll get to that later in the episode. Don't worry.
But that's generally just my outlook. And I think, you were saying you're like a terrible person and stuff, and how you're burning all these bridges and scorched earth. It's like, it's not scorched earth, mate. It really
Yeah.
isn't. Like, you can hit these guys up today, tomorrow, the day after, tomorrow, whenever you want to do it. And you were friends with them once, you'll be friends with them again. It's not like, in my opinion at least, it's not circumstance that makes people friends. Like you're saying, you relate to the ESL UK lot because you all had ESL UK problems. No, I'm sure there were people at ESL UK you thought were absolute pricks. At least one. Like,
Yeah, it was
legit.
one.
Yeah.
More than one.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. They're ESL UK people. If being an ESL UK person was enough for you to be good friends with someone, they'd be your friends as well, but they weren't, because it's way deeper than that. And that's something you don't lose. You don't lose that when you bugger off to LA and Las Vegas and Shanghai, because that never goes away. This is who you are. That's who they are, and then you'll always be able to pick that back up.
Just on this note, big shout out to Fridge Cake. You know who you are,
He was
Fridge
a
Cake.
legend.
He's a fucking legend.
He is an absolute.
Oh
is.
yeah, he is.
He
He's a
is
Yeah.
one of my best friends in the world. He is one of the few people that like I do occasionally text, which makes me sound even worse. But
He has said on a couple occasions in Shanghai things would be this would be great if Will was here. Like that is actually
Mate.
that has been uttered quite a bit.
Me and Will are an appalling pair. Like, you know how I've joked on broadcast about capital punishment? Well, I have quite a dark sense of humor. That's
You don't say.
pretty not 2021. Let me just tell you. But me and Will just click, and we encourage each other in a not great way, in the kind of way that I don't really want to talk about any more than this on broadcast. But
Yeah.
we just
I think-
every time we see each other, it's just fucking bants, man. It's just fucking bants. I think you're absolutely right, Foxy, that like it is the kind of shit that you're just overthinking about in bed. This is my bed, by the way. I'll just lay there and I'll overthink about it. And I agree. I wish that I could just say, fuck it, it'll be right. But when you're laid in bed staring at the ceiling, you've had a coffee at like 8 o'clock, so you're just fucking wired, and you just
Why
like,
are you having coffee at 8 o'clock?
because my dad was like, "Do you want a coffee?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
Okay, I will teach you something.
yeah, hit me up."
There is a 2-letter word that suits this situation. No.
Oh, I'm a yes man.
Wait,
I like
why
Jim's.
did you say
Name.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
what I
that's
meant
one of
to
those
say.
things.
Just
Ever
go
since
deep.
Ace Ventura, I've never been able to go back.
Coming back to the whole like friendship, etc. thing, like I think I would treat you and like probably all three of you as kind of like friends that I don't communicate with, right? Like
Mm.
Munch, you and we chatted last week because we were doing like casting reviews, etc. But not like I know nothing about your life. Like I understand, I know you're an LPL caster. We've chatted a bit about contract stuff,
Yeah.
but nothing outside of that, right? Like Foxy, same with you, right? Like I was gonna reach out to you this week because I was like, hey, he's on the LEC, let's chat, but you're not. So yeah, exactly, right? Like, and Dagda, same with you, right? Like I know what you're doing with your life, and I think of you as like a friend and someone that I
Yeah,
could
same.
chat
Yeah.
to, but like we don't chat.
Hmm.
And so you are like you're kind of confined to the people that you work with or you're regularly with because work is 90% of our lives, or my life at least.
Yep.
And then you have like these weird parasocial relationships. I don't know if you guys have these as well, which is like there are people that I enjoy talking to in a I'm I need to make sure I get the wording of this correct because like
These
if
are
I'm
medics
streaming-
friends.
well, no, but then they're not friend. So like, if I'm streaming and there's someone regularly in my chat that I chat to, it's like, hey, I enjoyed chatting to you in this situation, right? However, I know literally nothing about you, and you know a lot about me because I'm presenting myself to you as a person, right? And I've had a few recently where they like to me they have overstepped a line where I don't think they are overstepping a line, but it's like it's weird because I'm sitting there being like, hey, I don't know you. Like I have no knowledge of who you are as a person or how you interact with the world or anything about you. And you are treating me as if I'm like a friend you've known from high school or a friend you've known for a long time. And it creates this really weird dichotomy because I'm like, maybe I could be friends with you, but also you're on an entirely different level of knowledge in friendship than I am, and you're treating me as if we're at the same level.
Sequel, yeah.
Yeah, and it's really weird because also you never know if someone like I've been catfished in the past, right? You never know if someone is trying to get in to manipulate you or be like not very nice to you, right? And it's concerning. It's weird. I find it very odd and very difficult to deal with.
I used to get hung up on that as a streamer. I didn't like being called Dan. People in chat would call me Dan. I'd be like, "That's weird. Just call me Foxdrop."
Yeah.
Because you don't know Dan. You know Foxdrop. You know, but I learned to kind of not let it get to me that much because for me it helps knowing that like everyone is just someone. That sounds so
Sure.
shit. Do you know what I mean? Like they're just people going about their lives like I'm someone going about my life. You know, I've seen Amber in chat, for example, and I know she watches your stream, Medic, as well. I know her dad's name. Why? Because there was one time where was it her dad's? But I don't even know the context. But I asked her what her dad's name was. Now, I haven't spoken to Amber outside of the stream chat, but because she has a dad, and
I mean, sure.
Most people
like,
do.
and it's just yeah. Well, at some point in their lives, they probably did, honestly, statistically speaking. But I'm just, it's just little things like that where I just realize, for me, it helps me to connect more with my audience because I realize, like this person, this is Honeyman, who has nieces called Grace and Lily, and that's his life right now. He works he does this and this, and I know it's still a parasocial relationship because I've never met this person. I barely know what he looks like. I barely know their names. They're a screen name on a chat. I've never had a one-to-one conversation with them properly. But they're just people, and for me, that's that kind of, I find that quite, what's the word I'm looking for? Quite comforting, because then I feel like I'm actually not as alone as I am, or not as lonely as I am, because I am surrounded by people. It helps me to see the people behind the names.
I mean, I get that, but I also feel like I feel really bad. Like if someone is messaging me and be like, "Hey, here's a cute cat pic. I thought you might need a pick me up today," or "Hey, how you doing?" etc. Right, and I'm not replying. I feel like shit. I'm like, hey, I'm a bad friend, even though I'm not really your friend. But like, I have an unquenchable desire to please everyone and to make everyone as happy as possible, right? And like, if someone is like, "Oh, you didn't reply to my message," even if it's just like randomly, I feel really bad. I'm like, hey, I should have replied. I should have been better.
I will
But then
say,
also, like, I have a limited amount of resource that I can put into my life. And like, sometimes I need to sleep instead of replying. Like,
there's an extent to that, which is being English. Because in my experience of the wider world, this is a distinctly English trait. Or maybe not English, but like, I'm sure Dagda has manners. Sorry, Dagda. This is an Anglo-Gaelic trait.
No, I was gonna say I feel it as well. So definitely, yeah, I think it's definitely this.
But like, right, I'm gonna spit some flames here. So,
Americans suck.
Any Americans in the chat, or any Chinese people in the chat, buckle the fuck up. I've lived in America. I've lived in China. You motherfuckers don't have manners, and I'm sick of it. Seriously, the lack of like give a shit about everyone else pisses me the fuck off. It drove me insane in America. I spent 9 months in LA, 3 months in the UK, then 12 months in Las Vegas. And I will say Las Vegas was better than LA. While I was in LA, the first 6 months of that time was just figuring the fuck out how on earth Americans interact. I could not get it. It took me fucking ages. People will flake on shit all the fucking time like it's nothing. People, like, I got flaked on while I was like on the way to shit. And if you get annoyed about it, they're like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm living my own life. I can do what I want. It's like, yeah, but so am I. And you fucked me over, you fucking prick. But they don't get that, And there's like an extent to which like nobody says please, nobody says thank you a lot of the time. And it's just small shit. And it's like the ultimate conclusion is that the way that, in my experience, and this is totally just my experience, there's no scientific backing to any of this bullshit, right? But it's like the way that you're brought up in the UK is that make sure everyone's all right, and then figure out yourself, right? Like, you come last. If you're serving a piece of cake, you get everyone else a piece of cake first. You make sure everyone else has had some, and then you get the last piece for yourself, right? If you're in America, you sort yourself out. And in my experience, China's the same mentality there. And it's really, really difficult to get used to. Me and Dagda have actually spoken a lot about this year.
Yeah.
About how interactions, and it comes down to more than just like manners at a restaurant. It comes down to every interaction that you have with people, every little communication about stuff at work, whether it's like how you're interacting with a vendor on a project, or like how someone's communicating about some schedule or something. Like the way that you would think about it as a Brit, personally, in my experience, is very different to the way that you would interact in that way. And so it took me literally months to figure out these people don't hate me. They don't actually just, they're not fucking me over on purpose. They just don't get it. I'm on a different like expectation level to what they're on. And so when you realize that, it's like, okay, this is fine. So long as I don't expect them to say please and thank you, and so long as I don't expect them to communicate everything to me because they're worried about what I'm thinking about, as long as that's not my expectation, everything's gravy. And I don't have to do any of that shit either. I can be a fucking dickhead. Nobody cares. That's just acceptable behavior. And once you get that, then you can function in America. And that's what I figured out while I was in Las Vegas. But the whole time I was in LA, 9 months, I was just like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? Why are you all such fucking pricks? Why does everyone hate me? Why does no one reply to texts? Why does no one like turn up when we've agreed to do something? Like, and I realized that it's a totally different expectation. Like, unless you have text them on that day to reconfirm and like say, we're definitely doing this, right? Like half an hour before, like, then it's not real. It's not a thing unless you've like double checked and like reconfirmed and all this other bullshit. It's like manners are not the same in this little portion of Europe as they are elsewhere in the world. That's
that was
real
the thing.
difficult.
Fuck everyone else.
When I went to when we first got over to China, that was the biggest thing. Where I was like, say us four are working on a project, right? And we're all thinking the same thing. It's like, hey, what's the budget for this project or whatever, right? So we're all kind of working through our plans, whatever it is, and we're all doing up our individual things. I've actually reached out to someone and gone, hey, yeah, what's the budget? They told me it's €10. Well, I have that information, but I don't need to pass that information along to you. And then it's your fault that you didn't know that information, because I asked the vendor, but I didn't say, like, just put in the group chat, hey, we have €10 budget for this project. I just asked the guys. And I think that's been the biggest thing for me is like, if we have common information that's good for everyone to just know, not being able to just fling that into a group chat or a thing, it all seems to go through individual channels. And then, well, it's your guys' fault for not asking the vendor or not asking me what the budget was.
Yeah.
You guys should have gone and got that information. But I was like, but I know you said you were going to go and ask them what the budget was. So I just assumed when you got that information, you divvied it out to everyone else. That's been the biggest learning curve for me, is that's not how it works.
It's like looking out for the greater good versus looking out for number one, right?
Yeah.
That's
been really strange for me.
I've had experiences where I've been asked to give feedback, and I've been explicitly told don't be English about it.
What does that mean?
Because, or like more like a situation where, we want feedback because I'm sure there's things we could have done better, and we know you're an Englishman, but we really would like some actual feedback here, because I know an Englishman's going to be like,
don't be too polite about it.
Yeah, exactly. They'll be too polite about it, and they won't actually give any proper feedback because, they were trying, they did their best, and so we're not critical enough. And I've genuinely, that has brought up more than once. I've heard that line where someone wants my feedback in esports, and the fact that I'm English, they're just like, don't be too English, mate.
It's weird though. Like, I've done a lot of play-by-play caster feedback, and I think I did some for you at one point, Munch. And it's just like, I deliberately have to tell people I'm gonna be very blunt and rip them apart, and otherwise, like, I'm just like, hey, like, if you want hard-hitting feedback of what I actually think, then you're welcome to it. If you don't want it, I'm sorry, I can't give you feedback because I'm not going to be a nice guy about this. And it feels really weird, but it's, I guess, actually, if I give feedback on a product, I'm much more likely to say, oh yeah, I really enjoyed when you didn't stumble on your words, and I didn't enjoy so much when you stumbled on all your words. Like, I guess that's true.
I find it hard when I'm giving feedback. I'm very aware that I'm quite English in this respect. I find it hard when I get given like a piece of content or something that I have been nothing to do with, right? And I've done editing myself. Like I've been a producer, right? So I've worked in a lot of different roles within broadcast. So I know how much fucking work goes into this shit. And when the person at the top of the project doesn't get the vision, or it doesn't have much of a vision, and they're kind of winging it, and someone shows you a final product that's already been edited, it's already like everything's done, and they're like, what do you think? I already know the budget has been spent. Like, this is a finished product. This is not a first draft. This is edited. This is in the storyboard, you know? And so at that point, it's like, how English should I be? Because my English instinct is like, yeah, it's great. You know, could be better. Here, next time, maybe look towards this kind of vibe. But it's really good. Like, don't take that insult as it's really good. Like, that's the key. The big thing I want you to take away is this is really, really good. This could be better, but this is really good, you know? And it's like overwhelming. That's my instinct, is to be overwhelmingly positive. But if you do that outside of the UK, you just look like a fucking idiot. If I give that feedback in America and the product is shit, so let's say, for an example, right? Let's say there's an executive producer who's in charge of everything. Let's say there's 3 producers underneath them. And let's say you're the most senior of those producers. And the other 2 are kind of trainees under you, but you're all producers. Someone produces a piece of content. The executive producer hasn't seen anything yet, right? He's the big boss. He decides everything. He is the be-all and end-all of content, right? This guy comes to you and says, hey, can you give me some feedback? He's already spent all his budget. He's already gone gung-ho. This is as good as it gets for him. Like, he's done what he can. If you give him very English feedback of, yeah, it's really good, this could be better, but it's really good, when he goes to the EP is going to tell him it's shit. It doesn't matter what you said. The EP's not going to fuck around, because it's the EP's reputation that's on the line. And he's produced some big shit in the past, right? He's not letting this bullshit content represent him, because his name's next to it. So at the end of the day, when it comes to broadcast specifically, because broadcast is so everything's watched, right? You don't get to do projects in broadcast that people don't know about. Everything is public because it's all going on TV. You don't get the same freedom to just kind of skip out of feedback, because at the end of the day, someone's going to see this shit. And if you by giving feedback that's pretty positive and not giving any negatives, you're essentially condoning it. You're essentially signing off on this and saying, yeah, this is good. And if you say this is good, and they tell the EP, yeah, he said this was really good, the EP then thinks, this guy's a fucking idiot. He thinks this is really good? Why are we paying this guy? He doesn't know shit about broadcast, you know? And so in this world, in the world of esports and of broadcast, you can't be polite in English. It doesn't work. Like, it really doesn't. You have to be blunt. You have to be honest about feedback. And otherwise, you're just going to set everyone else up for failure. And it's public failure as well.
As a note, like, I've talked to my bosses a lot in LEC about, like, why I don't talk as much in meetings. And this is probably part of it, right? Like, I find a lot of the time I unless I have something like game changing to say, I just won't talk, because otherwise it's too much Englishness, like too much like wanting to please people. And so if I'm really like, if I'm very invested, or if I think something should be entirely different, I'll be like, hey guys, this is what I think. But 9 times out of 10, I don't talk up. And I talk to them about it. I'm like, I know I don't talk as much in meetings as other people. And they're like, yeah, but we respect you when you do, because we know when you do, you actually care. And I think you can still maintain some not dickishness while being a contributing member to the team. And if someone asks you directly for feedback, sometimes you have to tell them, I'm sorry, this is shit. But give them
But-
reasons why it's shit, right? Like,
I think,
and why,
I think
what
you
they can do to
highlight
improve.
you highlight the key thing there, though. It's not just like you don't have to go out of your way to be a dick. You just have to be honest. You have to tell them as it is, whether you like it or not, whether it's happy or not. You just have to be actually honest, and instead of being polite for the sake of being polite, you have to tell them what the truth is. Which, that sounds like English people are dishonest. It's like white lies, right? You just tell people what you think they want to hear. But
yeah, it's the difference between, hey, you look nice in that suit, and yeah, you can definitely lift that car, right? Like, one is just a fucking lie, and one is being kind.
yeah. And I think that's one of the things that I've always tried to, especially when I say it to most people, but especially when I'm talking to English people, it's like, if I'm looking for feedback, I'm like, please just be honest. Don't try and spare my feelings. This is casting feedback. I'm not going to take it personally. This isn't going to affect our relationship. I want you to tell me why I'm shit so I can get better. You know?
Right, I need to find my feedback to you, because I'm pretty sure I told you were shit at some point.
You have definitely
that's
told
kind
me
of
that
the
I'm shit at some
general
point.
cast
And I've
and
told
stuff
you
is
you're
like-
shit at some point. Sorry, go on.
I've
Dan.
said this to-
I'm not shit, Munch. I'm amazing. Let's all remember
Well,
this.
I used to be your talent manager back in the day, so
Oh god.
I think that's been the general thing I've said to most amateur casters before I do a VOD review with them is like, look, you're not going to come out of this feeling good.
Yeah.
You're going to get torn apart, and if you come out of this feeling good, well, then I haven't done a good job because you're shit. We're all shit. We're going to continue being shit. We're just going to try and be less shit. And that's really kind of where we're at. I think that's kind of the best way to approach a lot of these casting things is like, yeah, your feedback needs to be brutally honest or you're not going to get anywhere with it.
So I feel like this has been a quite kind of depressing episode. I'm not
It's
going
like a roller coaster. Yeah.
Nico, could she be in the meta? Oh god, what do you think?
She can transform. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true. She does transform. She reminds me of my ex, though, and that was. I'm just kidding.
Oh god. So part of what I wanted to talk about in this episode was LEC, right? I wanted to do like a recap on LEC week 1. It feels like a really hard transition at this point.
We are not
I think,
doing
like, we're
this.
beyond
We are
that.
2 hours in. I've had a whole bottle of vermouth. We are not doing this.
What's your favorite Caps moment of the weekend?
A Cardi outplay under tower versus whoever they played last.
I don't know.
XL.
I didn't see day 3, so
Yeah, he makes an incredible Carly outplay. Stopwatches Syndra ultimate, then uses perfect execution to get it. It's fucking Polk.
would you
Like,
say he
amazing?
perfectly executed it? For anyone listening on Spotify, he's giving me the bird. I think we are getting to the point, gentlemen, where we start to round up the episode. We're just beyond 2 hours, and I think the conversation is starting to wrap itself up. Is there any final notes on this massive, sprawling topic of life, mental health, casting, broadcasting, and everything in between that you guys would like to say to the viewers at home? We'll go in a clockwise order. We'll go with you, Medic, then Dagda, then Foxdrop, then we'll close out the episode. Any final thoughts for our audience? And also, tell them what's going on in your life. Shout out any shit you're doing.
Oh god. Life sucks sometimes. I really appreciate you all. Thank you very much for being along for the. Thanks for being here for the ride. Yeah. Oh, I'm doing a speed run at ESA. We've killed Munch. Okay, yeah. So life sucks sometimes. When I talk about being sad, etc., that's okay. It's okay to be sad. I'm doing a speed run at European Speedrunners Assembly on the 13th of February at 11:30 p.m. CET. So join me for that. LEC is on every week. Twitch.tv/mediccasts. Twitter.com. That's the one. /mediccasts. Thanks.
I'm really sorry, Medic.
Okay, mate.
It's
okay.
That was
Leaves during Foxdrop vulnerable moment, then interrupts Medic on his way out. I don't know, Munch. This hasn't been your episode.
My glasses have steamed up for how much I'm laughing. Dagda, hit him with it.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, we kind of hit on some heavy topics, but the big thing is like when I come off a show that I've done, or if it's a piece of content I put out, and I'm probably feeling like shit in certain situations. When I'm coming out of these content or whatever the hell it might be, and I'm coming off to, hey, dude, you did an awesome job, or someone who's messaging me on Twitter or Instagram, whatever it might be, it really does lift up my day. So I just want to say a very special thank you to those people, because those are the real MVPs, to be honest. And I don't think I'd have the mental fortitude to keep going if I didn't have those kind of messages, and at least feel like I'm helping some people or doing this for some people. So just a massive, massive thank you to those people. And same again, I mean, hit me up on twitter.com/dagdacast. That's kind of where eventually I will tweet something or do something, but just want to say, yeah, thanks to most people.
Right, are you not reading my Twitter DMs after your casts? Because it seems too positive for you to be
No,
reading.
I
this
actually
is
have you
my
on the block
messages.
list.
This is
You
why
just go
I-
into-
that makes sense. That makes sense.
I know there's like a request function, but I've actually just never clicked on it. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, it's mostly for verified Twitter users.
Oh, I see.
Oh, okay.
I used to be in that category.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
I
why I
was-
make so many alt accounts,
Yeah.
actually, so I can keep my co-caster happy to boost my own
Ah,
status. in
makes
esports.
sense, makes sense.
That's the trick.
Yeah. Can I just say
Foxdrop,
this is
over
the
to
first
you.
time I've really felt the need to stifle laughter since when I've been in school. Literally. Dagda's going off about how much he appreciates, the people who lift him up, because we had quite a depressing episode. I'm like, that's a great point. And I'm looking at Munch, and he's like, his eyes are red, he's spacing out, and I'm just like, I'm genuinely, I can feel it in my throat. I'm like, I just want to fucking laugh. I don't want to laugh. I just want to laugh, and I just had to sit there like this.
That's why I mute my
While he was
microphone before.
talking, I was like, I had my eyes closed. I was like, please.
Oh, God.
Oh my sweet lord. But yeah. Yeah, so to round things off for me, I'll say so a lot of whenever you talk about this difficult topics, it's easy to get swept up in the negativity of it. And then if there's ever any kind of like positive, maybe even not necessarily solutions, but you know what I mean, any kind of positive thoughts about it. What the fuck is Munch looking at?
I'm
It's a
fidgeting,
stick.
all right? I'm listening. I'm fidgeting. I'm a fidgeter. Leave me alone. I'm
No,
going to mute
that's
my mic
fine.
again. I'm going to continue fidgeting.
It's just fun and twig.
I don't have to fucking look
Hey,
at
guys,
you to
do you wanna
hear
go-
you. My ears
Do
are
you want to come on my
attached to my eyes.
podcast and I just won't pay any attention to you?
I'm listening.
That'll be great.
That's
I
fine. No, I
just
get
don't
it.
leave the room. I'll just.
You know
I
what,
did-
Foxdrop? I appreciate you.
You guys
I'm
are
here for you.
motherfuckers.
Come on,
No.
give me. I'll lend you my ear. Come on.
I didn't.
You come to
I
me.
do believe you're
the
listening.
day of my
I
daughter's
just-
wedding.
It just looked funny. It just
I was
like, he's
fidgeting
found
with
a
this
stick.
fucking... Look, it's a fucking cable tie or whatever they're called.
Alright.
I'm a fidgeter.
Oh my
Continue,
god. I'm dying.
please.
Okay. Oh my goodness. What was I going to say? This kind of takes some out of the impact of what I was going to
Yeah.
say, but
You interrupted
Um,
yourself, not me.
that's true. That's my
No,
bad.
Fuck you, man. No, you were the one doing the
I
interrupting
accept
here.
no responsibility for my
The
actions.
host of the podcast be like, hey guys, yeah, I'm just gonna look in this bag of crisps for like 30 seconds.
I was quiet.
That's true. He was-
God. This has gone off the
alright.
rails. Please, Foxtrot,
Uh,
please tell us your story. Finish us
yes.
out.
Okay, yeah. So it can be hard to like really kind of ascribe to the positivity, right? Easy to get swept over in negativity and hard to believe in the positivity. I just want to say that objectively speaking, for example, Munch, what you said, yeah, but I find it hard to say just fuck it because I think too much. It's like, okay, that's fine. That's your thing. But objectively speaking, I don't give a shit about what you think. Objectively speaking,
Thank you. Likewise.
you live your you live your life through your Munchables perspective, right? That's all you've ever known because that's who you are. That's how you experience life. I don't care. Objectively speaking, the world transcends that, you know. And
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is, everything's okay. No one gives a shit. Everything's fine. Pure objective. That's something that I try. I'm not great at listening to myself saying this, but that's it. You know, I don't care how much I'm panicking, I'm shitting myself, I'm sweating like mad, whatever it might be. I'm worried, I'm dreading everything. Okay. But objectively speaking, that's on you. That's just you, man. Objectively speaking, the universe could not give two shits about anything you're thinking about because it's just not true, you know? And everything's okay, everything's fine. So that's my rounding out point is if you're struggling about something, like objectively speaking, it's all okay.
You
might not be able to believe in it,
off.
but objectively speaking, it's all Gucci.
I understand what you're trying to say.
Oh, fuck it. I
feel
love
like this
it. I love
could be
it.
taken
Like,
in a
you're-
really negative way.
It's such a good point, but it's like, objectively speaking, no one gives a shit about you. The world doesn't matter. We're all gonna die.
I know you're upset right now.
Whoa.
But
That was a
objectively
jump.
speaking, nobody gives a fuck. Fuck off.
The jump, but you're in the
No,
right
no,
area.
I get what you mean, and I appreciate it, but it's just very funny.
This has been one of the funniest.
Just remember, the planet will explode in 4 billion years. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
We're gonna be dead,
Came
so
from
who
dust,
gives a
you'll
shit?
go back to dust.
Objectively
Exactly.
speaking, that's fine. alright.
Yeah. Objectively speaking.
This has been, despite the topics being actually quite depressing, this has been one of the funniest episodes I've been on. I've been in stitches many times.
It would have been more if you stayed in the room.
I apologize, about laughing in the midst of some touchy moments, but maybe I just have a problem with emotions.
talking about.
I left the
Munch
room
was
while someone was
on.
directly talking to me. I've been a bad host, it's fair to say, but I am on, I think, my 6th gin and tonic, so I'm going to let myself off because, objectively speaking, it doesn't fucking matter. So, on that note, thank you very much for
On that
joining us,
bombshell.
guys. Please follow Dagda. He does all the LPL stuff alongside me. Please follow Foxdrop and Medic. They're on the LEC. They're doing all sorts of good stuff in between. Medic is literally a world champion speedrunner, so go follow his
Not
shit.
anymore, but yeah.
Ex-world champion speedrunner. Azel's not world champion, but he's still a literal world champion.
True.
You can follow me on Twitter if you want to. I wouldn't
You can just be
recommend it.
objective world champion.
I chat even more shit on Twitter than I do on this podcast, and I chat a lot of shit on this podcast, so probably avoid that one. With that said, we're going to round out the show. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Foxdrop and Medic, for joining me and Dagda for another episode. We will see you guys next Tuesday. Until then, please be happy and have a great week. Tune into the LPL, tune into the LEC. Love you.